Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama, Key Largo, Montego, baby, why don't we go? Yeah.
Yeah, you know I'm gonna cut this out for release,
Down to
right?
Kokomo.
Welcome to the official, unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast, a podcast dedicated to Sea of Thieves and other rare games, but mainly Sea of Thieves. Today we have a lore-heavy episode, and we will dive deep, really deep, even further than Davy Jones' Locker, into the Sea of Thieves novel. We will give you a summary of the story. We will go over interesting plot points. We go over all the locations in Sea of Thieves where the story beats took place. But that's not all. We will also provide answers to questions like how did the Pirate Lord lose his leg and how much grog is too much grog? And finally, we go over all the stuff we could find that hints at future content, like new chest types and, dare I say it, mermaids. It's a lot to take in, and I did my best to set this podcast up so everything will be clear and digestible for you, the listener. But the best thing to make this heap of content more manageable is the addition of a wonderful and returning guest.
I am now wonderful and returning. Hello, this is UNIBALL, fellow YouTuber. Catch me at youtube.com/UNIBALL Gaming. I'm here to go over this wonderful story. I actually read a book for the first time in my life. That's a lie.
Yeah, happy you're back. Another thing we did to increase the listening experience is splitting our discussion into two podcasts. So the novel tells a story about Ramsey, the pirate lord, but also about Larina, a stowaway with a spirit for adventure, who later becomes the leader of the Bilge Rats. So these two stories take part in different timelines. Ramsey's story is about discovering the Sea of Thieves and the early days, while Larina's story takes place closer to present day. And even though the stories eventually have some overlap, it's actually way easier to go over them one at a time. So yeah, you will get two podcasts that will go heavy into the lore close to each other. And before we begin, spoiler warning, we don't really care about spoilers in this podcast. We do it all the time. But having said that, we will spoil the entire book. So if you have even the slightest interest in picking up the book yourself, you might think twice before listening to us. But if you don't care and want to jump right into the juicy bits, hey, that's fine. That's one of the reasons why we do this. So hopefully I hype you guys up enough for this podcast. Sadly, I'm going to break that hype right now because, as always, we discuss some news first. So let's dive into the news. First bit of news, and it's old news, especially when this releases on YouTube. But Mixer has ended, and it sucks. Like I can't do a backup recording now anymore. And this podcast has no live audience anymore, so that kind of sucks. How do you feel about Mixer ending, Uni?
I feel the only thing that makes me sad is on Mixer, I had the name Uniball, like on Mixer. That's the only thing that makes me sad. I think it was time coming. I think Mixer, they didn't do what they needed to do. And I'm umming again.
Yeah. No, I think they missed some chances. Like they didn't really give it at all. They brought over Ninja and that other guy, I forgot his
Shroud.
name. And those were big moves, right? Those were big moves. And but apart from that, they didn't do anything. And you thought like, oh, nice, like it's gonna compete with Twitch, and competition is good, so they both improve, and you get a lot of bullshit that comes with Twitch hopefully it's going to disappear. So that platform gets better and Mixer gets better, and you have like two streaming servers. You can promote yourself or go over and watch some streamers. But yeah, Mixer didn't really get off the ground. Like it didn't even get a fair start, in my opinion. For me personal, it really sucks because I gamed through my Xbox, and we have this little cute button. Well, just a few presses, I guess, and bam, you're broadcasting from your Xbox on Mixer. And as far as I know, you can't do that for Twitch.
You used to be able to. I don't know about now, but you could before. You may still be able to.
Maybe I need to do my research, but on the other hand,
Because
I don't
I've
want
done
to
it
do my
before.
research. All right. Through your Xbox?
Yeah, through the Xbox. My very first live
You
stream.
streamed on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I didn't know how to route my party chat audio to the stream, and so it was just me talking. It was my very first YouTube video. It was a VOD of like over 2 hours that I've now hidden because it's just kind of whatever. But it was a 3-man galleon, and we did a skull fort, fought a couple other galleons, and won. And but yes, you could at that time, which was about 2 years ago. I don't know about now.
All right, I need to look into it. I don't think I will because I kind of feel like we're left out by Microsoft in this regard. Especially you get 1 month notice. It's like, oh, that's nice. I was just building up my community. Like, I'm not a streamer. People know this. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not a streamer. I don't really like streaming. Like, I feel I have to perform and keep talking all the time, and I don't like that pressure. But that's just me. But it was great for the podcast. It was so great for the podcast. Just the idea of having a live audience listening to you. Having said that, maybe I will go to Twitch. Probably not. But I'm also thinking about doing it live on YouTube, so people can ask questions while watching to us live, and then you have the live podcast. It becomes just another video on YouTube. There's two things that are holding me back. One is I don't have the audience yet. I'm still a small YouTuber. Maybe when my subscribers grow, I can do this. The other part is I do a lot of editing, like a lot of stuff that's not fit for YouTube. I cut out, or when somebody's mumbling, or when I make stupid mistakes because my English isn't not that good. See, something like that. So that's the other reason. So you have like the raw version, which is always, well, not the most pleasant one to listen to. So, but we'll see. We'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, hopefully this steps YouTube's game up. I know a lot of people are scared to stream on YouTube, thinking that it might hurt their the algorithm might be against people who stream on YouTube. So maybe they
probably. No, but why would people want to stream on YouTube? Why would you want to become a YouTube streamer when you have Twitch, right?
Well,
I don't get it.
The one thing Twitch doesn't have is discoverability, and on YouTube it's a lot easier to discover people. I think YouTube has a real shot to dethrone Twitch if they put forth the resources and the effort into building a streaming platform. I mean, right now, they signed Ninja. They already have Courage, so I think they can. It's just a matter if they will, and I think they have to tweak the algorithm so it doesn't affect your.
Couldn't Ninja
videos.
just go back to Twitch like Microsoft didn't didn't put their part of the bargain up, so to say, like their side of the contract falls away, so he can do whatever he wants now, right?
Yeah, and he signed with YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he could have went back to Twitch, but he probably. I'm assuming YouTube gave him a better deal, or maybe he probably didn't want to go back to Twitch, or maybe they didn't want him. It's possible they didn't want him.
All right. Yeah, I'm not big. It's not my world. Like the streaming world is not my world. I only watch streams when I get a reward for Sea of Thieves, and that's the only time I watch streams. So not really big into that. Sometimes speedruns, like I'll watch speedruns too when they're live sometimes. But apart from that, I don't really follow any streams. So the other topic, and this is also the second and last topic of the new segment, let's talk about the Shark Hunt event. So what is a Shark Hunt event? Well, it's a past event, and Mag Meat and Shark Meat was worth more, and that's about it. You didn't get any other rewards. So how do you feel about this new event?
I didn't pay any attention to it. I stopped killing megalodons when the accommodation stopped, and when I had already turned in all my meat and stuff to finish those accommodations.
But you got the Asian Terror 50 times then?
Yeah. Oh no. I didn't do those. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Right. I stopped when maybe killing it one time. And selling meg meat. I only killed megalodons for the meg meat for the Hunter's Call. And then since that's over, I don't fight them. You know,
Yeah.
I either ignore them or bring them into fights.
It's a missed opportunity, this event, because it ended July the 8th. So that's 4 days ago at the moment of our recording. But normally when there was an event, like even with the Hunters Hall event, you got, additional reward for it. And this would have been, to me, a good opportunity to bring back the other pieces of the Shark Hunter set. But no, it's just more gold. I'm like, God damn it, what kind of event is this? This just sucks. Like they could do so much more with these events, and they don't. And
I think they need to
I didn't like
reskin
that.
the Shark Hunter hull. That's like my favorite skin of the boat, but it's one of the
Hmm.
earlier ones where they did
Yeah.
not skin the deck or the mast
Yeah.
or that other,
Yep.
all that other stuff. Now it seems to be more commonplace that they're skinning, the decks and the mast.
Yep.
And so you have this all black, almost all black boat, but then you have this, brown deck, brown mast. It really sticks out. Back in the day,
Yeah.
we never noticed it because all the boats didn't have the majority of boats didn't
True.
have their decks skinned, but now they all do.
True.
I wish they would reskin it, or maybe like a different
Yeah.
like Shark Hunter Hull 2.0.
Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't mind them doing another quality of life update and then just focusing on getting all the cosmetics just right and
They
updated.
should bring
I
that
would
event
not
back,
mind that
by
at
the way,
all.
too.
Which one?
The original Megalodon event.
Oh, yeah, crews actually working together
Yeah, and
to
just make it a
accomplish
really hard
something.
Meg, and that was fun.
Yeah,
That was
it
cool.
was fun. Yeah, I know that they have to do something special with it to bring it back, but or make it a, if you want to kill a megalodon, just do that, event again, like keep it in the game or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, so you can always kill a mag when you really want to kill a mag. I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Anything else you want to say about Shark Country event?
No, just that I remember reading about it and then not, you know, not caring that much. It didn't appeal to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, me too. I was hyped first because it was like, yeah, new rewards. I'll kill a few megalodons. Still need to kill a few starter ghosts, so I don't mind going mag hunting for I don't know 2 weeks. And I probably won't get it, but it could be fun. And then at the end of the day, I might have rewards, but nope, nothing at all. So yeah, missed opportunity right there. All right. With news out of the way, let's get right into the main discussion of the podcast. Before we go into the summary of Ramsey's story, I want to know how you felt about the book overall. So, if you would rate it from 1 to 5, what would your rating be?
I would rate. I really enjoyed it. I'd rate it a 5. I mean, I don't read. I don't read that much. I haven't read
Uh-huh.
a full. Well, the last book I read was the third book in Game of Thrones. And I finished that in November. So, but I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more so because I'm a fan of the game. So
Yeah.
that my rating might be biased in that regards.
And that's a good discussion point because I've read other well, I'm a big reader in general. Like it's kind of like my second hobby. And I've also read a lot of, well, I read 3 other game novels, one of BioShock and 2 of Dead Space. And the thing with those game novels is you need to be a fan of the game to enjoy those books. Always, you cannot read it as a standalone novel. It doesn't work like that. So I feel the same way. As a standalone novel, it sucks. Like the writing style isn't that great. The characters are not fleshed out at all. They're very much all pirate characters. Not that nuanced, just pirates, right? But as an addition to the story, like to the game, it's great. Like it's very lore heavy. A lot of things get explained, and yeah, no, it complements the game, and it does a really good job on that. So yeah, standalone, no, it sucks. But as a game novel, yeah, five out of five,
Yeah, but
definitely.
yeah, I guess. But the purpose of it was for it to be a game
Mhm.
novel. You know.
Of course, yeah, of course, yeah. You get it when you read it too. It's like it's very kid friendly, even though people die and there's exciting stuff happening. even people get captures too, but it's always very cat friendly, except one part, like they talk about flogging. I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
where was that?
I see. I can't remember because when I went outside, like had a few beers while I was reading the novel. And I enjoyed the sunshine while I read it. Right, so I had my notes next to me, so I was always writing
Hmm.
while I was reading at the same time. But I haven't written which notes go with which chapter. So
Yeah, I
even
kind of
though
did the
they're in
same.
chronological order, they're in order when I've read them, but I can't really place it. So I don't even know if it was Larina's chapter or Ramsey's chapter. But yeah, there's talk about flogging. Like this throwaway line is in there. I'm like, holy shit! Like, can you imagine that? Like, giving this novel to your kids and having to explain what flogging is. It's like, maybe they should have kept that verb out, so to say. Oh well. Some additional information about the book, right? It's not that big, but it's not small. It's about 263 pages to be exact. It's written by Chris Alcock, who is actually at the time of when he wrote it, he was a Rare employee. He's a game designer first. He worked on Cameo, Kinect Sports, Rare Replay, and of course Sea of Thieves. So I did some additional information because I didn't know his name. I was like, damn, I know all the developers. Why don't I know this guy? But he started in 2003 as part of QA testing and grabbed by the Ghoulies, and I think he is a freelancer since 2008, I think. But yeah, that's all the information I could find of him. As far as I know, this is also the only book he's written. Um, and like I said before, his writing style isn't that great. It gets the job done, which is usually the case with video game novels. Sometimes it had great passages, but overall it was quite simple. Um, I also didn't like that he switched POVs too much because of course you have the POV of Ramsey and you have the POV of Larina. However, in those additional chapters, POVs switch. Like sometimes you're reading a Ramsey chapter and the first pages are about Ramsey, about his point of view, and then next page it's a crewmate's POV. And I don't like that. Just stick to Ramsey. And I don't get why they did it too, because usually you'd switch to another POV when your main character isn't around, so you can still get the story. But when they switch to POV, to another POV, no, Ramsey is still around. So I'm like, why do you feel the need to switch? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like maybe once or twice when they switch to Rathbone, but we'll get into that. So I didn't like that about it. And like I said before, most chapters are pretty flat and one-dimensional. But that's all right. Its job is to enrich the game, and that it does indeed.
I liked it.
Don't get me
Well,
wrong. Like it seems like I'm negative, but I'm used to reading a lot and a lot of different novels all around.
like, did you read Dan Brown?
Nah, that shit.
I
I
mean,
shouldn't swear, by the way. I can't monetize my videos if I do.
um,
like the hot and controversial topics that one gave issues for YouTube. But anyways, that shit, Dan Brown.
he switches
No.
point of views all the time.
Oh, okay, within the chapters. No,
Well,
I
not
don't mind.
within. No, each. Well, I mean, it just
See, no,
switches.
that's fine because I'm a big fan of Martin, right? You know that.
Hmm.
He has he has like 20 POVs.
Well, I think
but
that's what you're. I think
there,
that's what you're basing your thing off of. Is just George R. R. Martin.
no, I really don't. Like, it's my favorite writer, but
You heard that, Chris
you should see
Alcock?
my
You're
living
no
room. I have
George
books
R. R.
everywhere.
Martin.
No, and it would be unfair to compare Chris Alcock to George R. R. Martin. That's not fair because Alcott's job was to write a Sea of Thieves novel, and this is the best Sea of Thieves novel I can imagine. It's really good in that regard. But I'm just used to reading other stuff, especially with character development and how things are written. And I don't know, I shouldn't compare it, but you do it anyways, right? Because
Yeah.
it's what you used to.
I mean, I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he probably the length of the book is probably the length that they were shooting for. And when it comes to like character development, I mean, there is there, but I mean, I guess I understand where the point you're coming from, but I enjoyed the switching back and forth. I mean, to me, I viewed it not as a point of view as it was just switching storylines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going on Ramses, then we're going to go on Lorena, and then that aspect. But overall,
Yeah.
I
No,
enjoyed it because
yeah,
it gives you that little cliffhanger at the end of each chapter, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Some of them felt a little bit forced, and like there's a cliffhanger, and they're like, it's gonna be that, and then 2 chapters later, yeah, that's
And
the
then
resolution
what did
of
you
that
do? What did you
cliffhanger.
do? You finished the chapter and read the next one, right?
Yeah.
Boom, job
Yeah.
done.
Well, yeah. Well, to be fair, I had to read it during the day when I had my notebook out. I couldn't take it with me to bed and read it like I would usually do it with any other novel. So that's a difference. But maybe because also I was trying to make this podcast good, right? So yeah, I need to keep that into account as well. Anyways, would you recommend the book?
Yeah, if you're a fan of the game,
Yeah.
100%, yes.
Yeah,
It
same. I would
fills some
recommend it too.
gaps, but we can discuss. It fills some gaps, but leaves some things out that you'd expect. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, no, totally right. Like, I'm so happy I read it because every time I play now, which has been 2 weeks to be fair, but anytime I play Sea of Thieves now, it's like, oh yes, I get it. Like some of the choices that seem very video game-esque, so to say, they all have an explanation, and it's nice to know all those explanations. Makes the world more alive, and I really like that. So we're gonna do the summary now. So this is going to be the last spoiler warning. So we're going to dive heavy into spoilers now. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to do the summary, the entire summary of Ramsey's story. And then we'll discuss the different parts of it, like the characters and the plot points and all the interesting, juicy bits. We could dive into that straight away, but hey, it's nice to have some context. So let's dive into the summary. And you can take the lead in this one, UNIBALL.
The summary of Ramsey. Do you want to?
That's great. That's great.
All right,
I wish I had it.
So Ramsey is a well-known pirate out in the world that we know, and Ramsey is looking for bigger, better things. Ramsey he's tired of the old taverns, he's tired of the old stories, he's tired of the traditional pirate life, and he wants more. He wants, but there's also a part of
the Royal Navy, of course, too.
And the Royal Navy, of course, yeah. And Ramsey, he's also married. He has a wife and he has 2 children. But he wants adventure. So Ramsey meets a person named Mercia, and Ramsey and Mercia start discussing the Devil's Shroud and what lies beyond. At that point, to their knowledge, no one has been able to cross over the Devil's Shroud.
It's a mysterious thing that moves with the tides, and sometimes it appears larger than it is, and just you never know where it is. It's on the seas
and flows,
but it's ebbs and it flows, indeed.
Yep. So while they're discussing the Devil's Shroud, they decide that they are going to try to get into it. But at that point, they needed a ship and they needed a crew. So they built their first ship, the Magpie's Wing, in secret, and they got a crew. They got 2 crewmates, one named Shan and one named Rathbone.
Oh, he's not a villain. Look at his name.
Yeah, Rathbone
sounds like a really nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. So while they build their ship, or when they finish building their ship, they decide to sail into the Devil's Shroud and into the Sea of Thieves, which they successfully do.
How come they were successful? Like everybody else failed, but they got in. How did they get into the Shroud?
I think because of Mercia. I think they used Mercia's knowledge of stuff.
Well, apparently there are different ways to get in there. You can use a Shroud Breaker, which you did in the Tall Tales, but they didn't have that back then because the stones for the Shroud Breaker are in the Sea of Thieves. It's kind of like leaving your car keys in your car. Like, yeah, how do you open the cards? You use the keys. The keys are in the car. All right. But there are other ways. And one of the ways that Mercia discovered was making sure you have a small ship. So other people who tried it before, they always used galleons and big galleons to get in there, and they built a smaller ship that would withstand the the powers of the shroud, so they could get through. And that's exactly what they did. They still needed to bail all the time. They needed to keep the ship together. It was creaking constantly, but thanks to Mercia's navigation and the fact that they had a small ship, they could make it through the shroud, and that's the reason why they succeeded.
Which was still
The first
considered a
time, that is.
galleon, though. Their smaller ship
It was still a
was
galleon.
still
Yeah,
a
don't get
galleon.
me wrong, it was still a galleon. Because the book talks about sloops and galleons, not about brigantines. They did not plan to have brigantines in the game. But yeah, so smaller galleons. And the galleons you see in Sea of Thieves, the people refer them as small galleons too. So even in this world Rare created, those galleons are considered the smallest size galleons. All right, so they get into the shroud. What happens next?
So as they get it, as they traverse the shroud and they successfully enter the Sea of Thieves, they stumble upon the first island that they see, which they later named Thieves Haven, which is also the first island you see when you're sailing out of the maiden voyage, with that nice little cutscene with that free floating camera that I need. Rare. Thieves Haven. So at this point, they're the only ones in the Sea of Thieves. They spend about a year in the Sea of Thieves exploring, finding treasure, just having that pirate life, and noticing that the Sea of Thieves has certain magical properties to it, like fast healing. So after that first year, they decided to go back and sail back through the shroud to tell people of their, and to show their spoils and riches and the stories that they've had.
Yep.
And so they go
basically
back.
Brag about it.
Yeah, basically.
That's the reason. And also the grog was gone. Which I don't know if you caught that, but one of the reasons, we have all the treasure, but also really use drink right now. And then they decide to head back to the real world again. I thought that was funny that they really like drinking, all of them.
Yeah, they get back and there's a huge, everybody's excited to hear their tale. At one point, Ramsey tells everybody, because they're crowding him at the dock. He's like, meet me at the tavern. I'll tell everybody all about it. So he starts talking about the Sea of Thieves and all their stories. And at the same time, Rathbone, he doesn't really like Ramsey. He doesn't, there's something shady about Rathbone. So Rathbone ends up giving a map to the Sea of Thieves to Stitcher Jim, with the hopes that they could bring more people into Sea of Thieves, because he believed that if there's more pirates out there, that they would benefit more of the plunder and all that good stuff. So after Rathbone gives the map to Stitcher Jim, they all end up going back. And when they're back in the Sea of Thieves, more shops start popping up, more people start showing them the Sea of Thieves, and it starts to become the Sea of Thieves as we know it, with different outposts, taverns, shipwrights, everything. It starts becoming a small community of pirates and outposts, and more and more people are doing their thing. And so during their travels in the Sea of Thieves and at their hideout at Thieves Haven, they soon discover that they have been ransacked, and that this sends Ramsey into a fit of rage. He's really upset that somebody found their hideout, ransacked all their items. It really made him upset. He locked himself into his cabin, and everybody was kind of wondering what was going on. But then when he finally emerged from the cabin, he spoke to Mercia, and Ramsey realized that he did not, the treasure hunting and stuff was, that's not really what he was looking for. He told Mercia a story about a magical village that his father once told him that appeared once a year. And Mercia kind of implied, you thought the Sea of Thieves would be this little magical village like your father told you. And he nodded. And at that point, he decided to search more about the magic and the discoveries that they can have in the Sea of Thieves, like the magical properties. So in order to get their whole crew aboard, he told Shan and Rathbone that they were going to go to outpost to find who ransacked their hideout. But at the same time, him and Mercia would listen for stories of magic and listen for anything that caught their eye that they can investigate. And during one of these times, Mercia spoke to an old woman who tells her the story of this magical pool with these flames that want to go out, and Mercia is drawn in closer and closer, wanting to figure out more. And the lady says, she had a map, but it was in a shipwreck. So the lady told Mercia where the shipwreck was. Immediately, Ramsey and Mercia get out of there. They tell Shan and Rathbone that they got to go. They find the shipwreck.
We've got our tall tale.
Yeah.
Just started.
Tall tale
for a tall tale. Let's go.
Point one. So they find the shipwreck, and they find a box that has a necklace and a map, and it gets a little tense with sharks and everything. From that point, it leads them to this hidden chamber, this cavern where they have to swim down into. Ramsey and Mercia, they did not tell Shan and Rathbone about their plan, so they stayed behind to guard the boat. While Ramsey and Mercia were down there, they discovered some earrings. She put them on. She hears music. She hears singing. She's not quite sure what she hears. But then the singing starts getting louder and louder, and before them, there's these merfolk that show up, mermaids. And she realizes that these mermaids are trying to communicate to them through song. And they eventually learn that the mermaids start telling this whole story about the ancients, and that the mermaids, used to live in peace with humans, like thousands of years ago, and that they missed people, and that they thought when Ramsey and his crew and everybody started coming to the Sea of Thieves, that the people were coming back. And so they're calling out to the people because they missed them. They work together with them.
True.
And
mermaids live a lot longer too than humans, so it's probably the same mermaids as back then, it's implied.
And so the mermaids then eventually tell them that 2 of their own have been captured, and they asked Ramsey for his help. At this point, Ramsey and his crew go to save these merfolk, but at the same time, they do not inform Shan and Rathbone of what's actually going on. And so they meet Douglas, Captain Douglas, which I'm assuming is the same Douglas skull that you find in the Tall Tales.
Smart find.
So they meet Captain Douglas. They have a plot to burn his ships and save these merfolk. At the same time, they realize that Captain Douglas has been cursed. So that starts implying that there's magical properties to these curses. His skin was turning into like stone. Other people's skins were turning into gold because of cursed treasure. So eventually they rescue these mermaids, and they come back, and they spill the beans to Rathbone and Shan. And as their reward, the mermaids guide them all the way into the wilds to the remains of the Old Mother, which was the mighty kraken that everyone feared, that feasted on merfolk, feasted on humans. And the humans, or the ancients, and the merfolk banded together to capture the Old Mother. And they eventually did with these chains. They had these magical chains that captured the Old Mother, and she eventually passed away and died. And so she was big enough where a ship can sail through her skeleton.
Yeah, I like that passage too, the description of the Old Mother. But apparently she couldn't be killed by conventional ways, so that's the reason why they chained her up, because you couldn't kill her. And so they tried to, chain her or starve her to death. I don't know. But apparently, and I really like this little bit of information, the Old Mother screamed for 100 years before she stopped screaming after she noticed he got chained up. And I just like that. Kind of like enforces the mythical properties that Kraken has.
Yeah.
That she can scream for 100 years. Could be exaggerated, of course, but I like that little tidbit.
Well, I think that 3 a.m. Kraken thing might be not her, but maybe it is her that we
like
hear.
An echo of the past.
Yeah, that we hear every morning at 3 a.m. game time.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe,
it could be. Yeah.
Maybe. For the people who don't know, like if it's 3 o'clock in the game, you can watch your pocket watch. You hear a Kraken scream. So it's a nice little bit of information for you right there. So they get to the Old Mother.
They get to the Old Mother.
She's a skeleton.
She's already dead. So the merfolk start giving these chains that they used to tie up the Old Mother to Ramsey. And these chains had magical properties. And basically what Ramsey did is Ramsey started creating chests and keys to where these chests could not be broken, because obviously the old mother couldn't get out of these chains. So they used the chains to create these chests, and these keys were the only things that can open these chests. So what Ramsey then, Ramsey had ambitions of becoming this big, big honcho discoverer, everything, and so he wanted to basically, I mean, he kind of wanted to rule everything, in a sense. So he actually wanted to create a pirate alliance. And so I think he got Shan's help to create all these things for him, the chests and the keys.
Shan was the one who made it, actually. You said Ramsey made it, but it was his idea. Shan, his other crewmate, his quartermaster, he actually reforged all that metal into chests and keys.
Yes. And so Ramsey then calls for a parlay. He calls for all the main big pirates in the Sea of Thieves to come together because he has some big announcement to make. During this announcement, he displays the chest and he asks anybody if they could break into him. The first person.
Who's there? Actually, who's there?
Who's there? We have Slate, Captain Slates of the Morning Star. We have Captain Grey Marrow. What's his boat?
I don't know.
Either.
It's. I think it's named.
They're all named.
They're all named. I can't remember the name of his boat.
So sadly. Okay, so the people that were there were the main folks that were there that people would recognize from playing the Tall Tales were Captain Slate, Grey Marrow, and Briggsy were there. And Briggsy was renowned for being like kind of like a locksmith. She could break out of anything. She could pick any locks. So anyways, she was the first to attempt to try to open the chest, and she failed. Later, Slate tried to use, brute force. He failed. So nobody could get in. So Ramsey then tells him that, he's putting all his treasure into these things. And then only he had the keys that can open them. And he wanted to create an alliance of people that would kind of follow in that same way, where he'd give them keys to open their chests, etc. And he says, the stuff that was ransacked way back when was nothing to him. Those were pennies compared to what he can gather and hide. So at the same time, while this is happening, I think Grey Marrow storms out and he's like, screw you, I'm a pirate. I'm going to do pirate things. Just like the happy Grey Marrow we all know.
Yeah. Well, he sounds like my crewmates too. Fuck PvE. Let's PvP this game all the way through.
So
which is fine, but that's how Grey Marrow sounds.
Yep. And during all this time, when the chains were taken off the old mother, there was an awakening as well. There was a kraken that had awoken, and as this parlay is happening, this kraken is making its way to Golden Sands Outpost, which is where the parlay is happening. And it attacks. And it starts to attack. And then everybody runs out to their own ships and they start battling it. Briggsy's on a sloop. Everybody else is on galleons. They're having a hard time fighting it. They don't know what to do. Eventually, I think the Morning Star goes down. Does the Morning Star go down?
Yeah.
So Slate's ship goes down. The Magpie
gets rebuilt later, by the way.
Wing is, I think that's not mortally damaged.
The Magpie's wing? No, it doesn't sink there. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That does get damaged. Yeah.
So this Kraken has one good eye, and then Ramsey eventually fires a bunch of. Well, there's multiple things that they do to fight this. They discover that there's cursed chests. Shan throws a chest of sorrow down its mouth to give it a bad tummy ache. And then
only pisses him off.
And then Ramsey fires a barrel at him full of trinkets to blind its eye. The Kraken is
they get full content, right? Because they see the entire body as well. It's like, damn it.
Yes, they get the full. They see the whole body of the Kraken. And so at this point, the Kraken's blind and then it's thrashing and whatever. And then this is where Ramsey's leg gets mauled, by the way. Is when it hits the ship and Ramsey's leg gets caught up underneath, and this is why Ramsey has a peg leg now.
Yep.
But also during this time, he's thrown off the ship, and Rathbone reaches out to grab him, but Rathbone is not there to save him. Rathbone tells him that he was the one who betrayed him. He's the one that got everybody into the Sea of Thieves. He's the one that ransacked the Thieves' Haven. He
Yeah,
wanted.
well, actually, it was Jim, wasn't it? And Redbone told Jim to ransack Thieves Haven.
Oh, I don't. I thought it was both of them. Well, I guess it had to have been
Oh,
Jim,
could be.
but it was
Could be.
Rathbone's. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His accompliance.
Yeah, it was
His
his
company of
plan.
pirates. Yeah. Yeah.
And then at this point, Rathbone steals the keys from Ramsey, the skeleton keys that open all the chests, and tells them that the Sea of Thieves should be for pirates, not for alliance loving PvEers, and and lets Ramsey go, presumably to his death.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I actually really like this in the novel, because Ramsey is struggling to get back on the ship, and then Rathbone grabs him. It's like a very Lion King moment, like
yeah.
wonder where he got his inspiration.
Simba.
And I was like, it's gonna be really cliche. Like, this is gonna be cliche. Like, it was me all along, and to your death. And to my surprise, Ramsey says, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna chuck me overboard. And it's like, spare me your speech. Just do it. Just kill me. Just do it. And I was like, that was a badass.
That was good.
Ramsey's like, you're gonna kill him. Just do it. Just do it. I know you want to do it. I loved it. I really like that moment in the novel. Yeah.
Yep. So at this point, with Ramsey gone, Rathbone ends up creating the Gold Hoarder Company that we all know today. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones that can open the chests because Rathbone has all the keys.
Got all the skeleton keys. Yeah.
Has all the skeleton keys. So fast forward 20 years later, Rathbone has now become the Gold Hoarder.
You need to give a little bit more explanation to it, right? Because first of all, he became the head of the Gold Hoarder Company, and the Gold Hoarder started out as just another pirate faction, but over time they were, trading more of their stuff with the outside world, so they became a company with Rathbone at their head. And Rathbone, because he got more and more gold and treasure, he became more and more greedy. You want to take over? Or
yeah. And actually, he was Rathbone had left the Sea of Thieves. And
yes.
And then Rathbone then hears a story of this great island with a bunch of treasure, which we later become to know as Tribute Peak. Yeah, in the Shores of Gold. So he hears this story and he's like, "Oh, I need this." And he goes and he starts filling all his pockets. I think he went there on a sloop. Boy, Rathbone, solo slooping. So he finally discovers this cavern full of gold and everything, and he loads up his ship as with as much gold as possible. And as he's sailing back into the Sea of Thieves and presumably back out into the real world or the outside world, he gets surrounded by these matching galleons, and it turns out it's Slate and Mercia, and they eventually sink him, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sink Rathbone, and then as he's sinking, he's trying to grab all the treasure, as he's sinking to the bottom of the floor, and then he sank.
I got this passage right here. There's actually a good passage. Let's see. Water filled his lungs and burned his chest, but there was another burning there too, a yearning to claim every last one of the golden pieces, followed by everything beyond, to have every gemstone and every treasure that there ever could be clutched safely in his fingers, to make it part of him, so that he and he alone could possess it, to squeeze the life out of anyone who might come between him and his ambitions. The thought of drowning no longer seemed to matter, not when there was still so much to do. So much to take.
Poor Rathbone.
Yep, indeed. I did like that passage, by the way. Every once in a while, this book has some really gripping passages like that. I like that.
Yeah. So at this point,
they sunk him. He was left for dead.
Dead.
While he was still dying, he grabbed all the treasure he could. Yeah.
Yes. Fast forward 20 years later, Ramsey has become the Pirate Lord, and he ends up at the Shores of Gold, and he ends up talking to Rathbone and tells them that it wasn't all about the gold, it's about the glory and whatnot.
Yep. So basically bullshit speech you get at the end of the first set of tall tales.
Yeah.
It's
not about the gold, it's about the glory. So
and Rathbone by then has turned into
he's turned into the Gold Hoarder. Yes. They don't really specifically mention it in this point in the story, but he is sailing on the Athena's Fortune, which is a boat named after his wife, Athena. And also at this point in the story, we learn that, his old crew ends up passing away. Ramsey is given a trinket from Mercia as one of her last gifts to him, called the Reaper's Mark, that he wears on his neck. This is what prevents him from,
drifting away from this world.
Yeah,
it allows his ghost to stay in the physical world.
Correct. Yeah. Basically. At that time, in the first instances of the Sea of Thieves, there was no Ferry of the Damned, so people didn't come back. Nope. There wasn't a ferryman that could bring people back.
There was a Sea of the Damned, though, but
there was a Sea of the Damned, but not the Ferry of the Damned. So, indeed. And then as Ramsey later, he lives off his pirate lord life. The story doesn't actually talk, and then this is kind of where the story ends, which is kind of where Ramsey's stories end. Of course it intertwines with Lorena's, at the very end. But
at the very end,
the last thing we know of Ramsey is, he presumably dies, but then 20 years later comes back and tells Rathbone, you suck. And
but we need to explain this a little bit, because when Rathbone threw him overboard, when the Lion King moment, Ramsey didn't die. Like,
correct.
He just only lost his leg during the battle, and then he recuperated on Golden Sands Outpost for a couple of weeks, and then he got his back leg, and after that he became, being a pirate again, and trying to become the pirate lord.
And eventually, so the book never really talks about any of how he ended up becoming the pirate lord. It just ends up with him. It fast forwards through all of that.
Yep. Indeed. We get a fake out. Like, is he dead? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Again, this is what I mean with those cliffhangers, where I already know the answer to. Right?
Yeah. And so,
is he dead? No, of course he's not dead. Come on.
So essentially, that's where Ramsey's story ends in the book. So we actually do not know how he actually dies and becomes the ghost.
We don't know that. Nope.
And it just ends with him having that last real speech with Rathbone, and that's it.
Hopefully you guys could follow our summary.
That was way longer.
Well, it's good. As you could hear of it, it's we did prepare a summary, but it's really hard to condense a big story for somebody who hasn't read the book. And of course, I get that some of you guys are thinking like, yeah, we want more information about that part of the story or that part of the story, and you're gonna get it. That's what the rest of the podcast is about. So we gave a summary, quick story, or condensed story. So now all the other stuff we're gonna discuss will make more sense to you. And the first thing we're gonna discuss are the characters. So we're gonna discuss the main characters and the side characters of Ramsey's story. And the main characters are obviously Ramsey and his crew, and Rowana too. We didn't really talk about her in the summary, but we'll get to her too. So let's begin with Ramsey. Oh my God, I did not like Ramsey. he's like the main pirate. He is the pirate lord, but when you actually dive into his story, I'm like, he's not really that great. At least I didn't think he was really great. First of all, he's the most shitty husband there is. Like, he is apparently married. We never see his wife, by the way. Never see his wife. Never see his kids too. He's a terrible father as well. The only thing he wants to do is go out on an adventure and live his pirate fantasy without any regard of what his family wants to do. And in the real world, he has his friend called Rowana, and she's reminding him, like, hey, you should spend time with your family. And Ramsey's like, yeah, I can do it when I retire. Like, that's basically his attitude on it. And in the end too, like, he never meets up with his kids or wife again. And we've got this revelation at the end, like, and this is kind of like big, like the thing I was wondering was why it's called Athena's. Why it's called Athena's Fortune? Well, Athena's Fortune was the name of his last ship that he built. It's also the name of the ship in the Pirate Legend hideout. The entire tavern there is built from remains of that ship. and you can see the nameplate, and it says Athena's Fortune. But nobody really got the name of that, and we learned that it's the name of his wife. So, wait, does that mean that in the end he did care about his family? Uh, all right, but he didn't. Otherwise, he would have spent time with his wife. So, yeah, I think he's a bad husband. How do you feel about that? That part of his character?
Well, yeah, I mean, he he was not the ideal husband for his wife for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but his end game, I think, was always, surrounded by his family. A very big pivotal piece that he always carried with him was a black diamond ring,
Yeah,
which represented his wife, and that's a pivotal part of the story as well.
it's true.
So there was always that.
Because that we didn't explain it in the
Well,
summary.
no, because
Because
I mean it's
when they
more
have
Lorena's.
no, because when they Ramsey and Rathbone have their Lion King moment during the Kraken attack,
Oh, that's true.
um,
Rathbone steals it.
Rathbone actually takes the ring from his hand. We didn't address that, but he takes the ring from his hand and keeps it as his own. And later, when Ramsey meets up with the Gold Order, with Rathbone the Gold Order, he's like, "Oh, you still have that ring? You know what? I just want to talk and make you feel bad. I don't want to fight you because I might lose with my back leg and my big belly by now. So I'm just gonna make you feel bad and not fight you. So yeah, you can keep the ring." That's the impression I got from that interchange. Like if the Goldor attacked Ramsey, Ramsey would have lost. He was all by himself. So
Yeah.
oh well, I guess yeah. Another part of the story that didn't really make sense, but oh well, it's a video game novel, so well, it's fine. Um, and later, yeah, spoilers for Lorena's story. Later, Lorena discovers that ring from the Gold Horror. But still, that's a sign that he kept a memento of his wife. But still, that doesn't make him a good husband. Like
No, the
you
the the
actually need to
thrill of
visit
it.
your wife from time to time.
Yeah, the thrill of adventure, I think, overshadowed his family life. But I think in the
Yeah.
end, he always wanted to be able to provide for them. But I think he just got too caught up in his own pirating ways, and
Yeah, but that's weird too, because one trip to the Sea of Thieves, one trip would have made him the richest guy in the world.
yeah, but he
So
wanted
all the
more.
extra treasure was extra treasure. Yeah, and in that part, and that's the other part why I don't like Ramsey, he's a big, big hypocrite. Because he's in the beginning he's all about treasure, 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 and then he gets illusions of grandeur and becomes a pirate lord, which is weird too because people did not appoint him to become the pirate lord. He decides, kind of like Napoleon crowning himself emperor. He's like, oh fuck it, I'm the pirate lord now. That's his attitude. And he was renowned, of course. Like people knew him as a as a daring, adventurous pirate even before the Sea of Thieves. But still, I feel like it got into his head. Obviously, that's not how the story wants to present itself. Um, but that's what I
But
I got out of it.
that's how it is shown that
Yeah,
he created himself to be the pirate lord. But
yeah.
maybe through his actions in those 20 years, there's more to it that they don't.
That's true. Like maybe people saw him as a pirate lord too, and then
Yeah,
because of the the reaffirming of the people, all right, you call yourself a pirate lord, and we see you as a pirate lord, but we don't know that for sure.
maybe he does eventually
Anyways,
earn that title,
I guess so. I guess so, but we don't really
but
know.
we
Yeah,
don't.
well, I
Yeah,
guess he earns it because otherwise people wouldn't be following him. That's true. Yeah, but still, it's his decision to crown himself
but
pirate
yeah,
lord,
that
which is a
basically,
bit
yeah, it was his ambition
yeah,
was
which
to
is a bit
become
weird. And
a pirate lord.
he doesn't need all that treasure too, because one chest of gold is enough to live your life and provide for your family. But it's like more and more and more. And then later he tells Rathbone, all you wanted was treasure. Like, dude, you were the same.
Yeah, he was the
You
same.
were the same when you started out. It's so weird. Only when he discovered you couldn't win anymore because he was ransacked, He's like, all right, I don't care about the treasure anymore because I can't win this way. I'll try another way. I'll try magic, and it's I mean I don't get it. I don't like him as a character. I like aspects of him. He can be a badass. He has some badass. Like I told you before, that Lion King moment is like, just do it. I
Yeah.
know you're gonna kill me, just do it. I love that. So he does have his moments that befitting to a title of pirate lore, but overall, yeah, he has weak moments too. I know. How do you feel about Ramsey?
Yeah, no, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like there was, he, as going in before reading the novel, you just think, oh, this big pirate lord, but then,
Mhm.
I mean, I guess at one point it almost humanizes him. It shows him as like a real person. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no, I get it. Yeah, then so it adds to it. It's only a bit. I feel he comes across as a hypocrite still, I think, but it's fine.
Well, maybe
It's
he's
fine.
just learning in his ways.
Maybe. To be fair, he was young. He was in his 20s when he
Yeah.
started out, so all right, kind of get it. And fun fact, by the way, most of you listeners know this already, but he has two kids. They're not named in the novel at all. You don't meet them in the novel, but you can meet them in the game. They run the Sea Arena. Like the Marco and his sister, they run that. So those are the kids of the grown-up kids of Ramsey. So if you want, you can meet them.
And in the arena tavern, you can see pictures of like the chain from the old mother, some younger pictures of Ramsey with the Athena's fortune or the Reaper's mark on his neck.
All right, so let's go to one thing I wanted to say about Ramsey too. Like we meet Briggsy too, and she seems way more fitting of the title of Pirate Lord. Now, when the Kraken does attack Golden Sand, you know what she does? She just solo sloops this shit. It's like, fuck it. And she's very successful. I think her ship is the only ship that doesn't get damaged during that battle. I think. I need to reread it, but I think the solo slooper Brigsby makes it out in one piece.
I think
I
so
know.
too. Yeah.
She's way more fitting to have the title of Pirate Lord. Anyways, let's go to Sean. Sean is the
Is it Sean or
quartermaster of
Shan?
the. I don't know.
I don't know
I
either.
think we can pronounce it whatever way we can,
Okay.
unless we meet Sean or Shan in the game. Until that moment comes, we can do whatever. So Sean is a quartermaster. First of all, he sailed with the Royal Navy before, but then decided to become a pirate. He is a fast thinker and a fast thinkerer. Yeah, I don't know. He's the one that reforged the change into all the chests, and he made the skeleton keys from the metal, and which made me to believe he was a trap maker. But the trap maker in the Tall Tales is actually a female when I looked it up, but I don't remember it from playing the game
I feel like I remember it playing the
myself.
game that it was a female.
All right, which is weird because that it could have been Sean, right? Because the trap maker is not an evil character; he was just employed by Briggsy, and Briggsy only became evil when she became Skeleton Lord. Not before that; she was just sometimes PVE, sometimes PvP kind of pirate.
Well, she was
So
crazy.
yeah,
She was that
yeah, but
kooky,
that's
crazy person.
she's a bit kooky, yeah, but she's not straight up evil.
No.
Not especially not in the early days. So I don't know, and we'll talk more about Briggsy later. Um, Anyways, he also made the original cannons. That's another fun fact that I didn't know, because in the game you can shoot yourself out of cannons. Really fun to do. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you can contain in forms, but that doesn't work in real life. You die if you do that in real life. So the way it's explained, all those cannons are made by the metal of the change of the old mother, and that's that magical metal that makes it so that you don't die and you can shoot yourself out of cannons. So yeah, no, I like that, and I love Shane as a character too, because he doesn't have any. This may sound weird. He doesn't have any ambitions of his own. He like sort of goes with the flow, kind of like how I played this game too. Like if I get in a PvP crew, like, oh, let's kill everybody. If I get in a PvE crew, oh yeah, let's go alliance. Let's make the love go. Like, and Sean is like that. He's like, oh, just go with the flow. And Redbone, takes him to his side and say, "Yeah, I don't really like Ramsey. I don't like following orders." And Sean's like, "Oh, I'm still having fun. Don't care."
Yeah.
So I like his attitude. I like his attitude.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I like his character too. I mean, he's just that cool, calm, collected. He's older, and he's just there to. He doesn't want to start, like, he's not there to start any trouble. He's just there to go with the flow, like you said.
Yeah, he's the only one who was really enjoying everything was
Yeah.
happening. It's like, oh, mermaid, yeah, sure, why not? Treasure, yeah, sure, why not? Grog, yeah, hell yeah. All right, and he also made he also hid the treasure on Thieves Haven in the secret little
Correct. Yeah.
hideout over there,
Where is
which we
that?
will address when we come to the locations. If you read the script, all right. Anyways, let's go to Mercia. She's actually the one that found the passage through the shroud. You go first, by the way, Mercia. I've been
Mercy.
talking.
She's probably my favorite character. Originally,
Hmm.
Mercia, she presented herself as a male. I guess there were
Yeah,
some issues with females in having,
that
I
was
guess,
so
certain
weird.
positions. Well, I think they're setting it up for um I don't know if you want to keep this in or not, but just setting for having, equal everything. Rare is pretty
Yeah,
conscious about, not, you know what I mean?
excluding people. Yeah, you can be a female pirate, you can be a male pirate, and that's it. But the thing is, isn't that a common misconception about pirates, that they didn't have females aboard their ship? That was bad luck. I think that's a cliche. That's not true.
Well, yeah,
I
but
think,
I guess with their
yeah.
current, just with it, just in the world and today in society and today, it's kind of like a man's world, and it's harder for women, uh and I know, they're making strides for equality and stuff, which
Mm,
is good, but I think maybe they're setting up that tone.
mm. Well,
Yeah,
if
I
they
don't know if
if
you want to
they
include this
did, I
part or
didn't
not. I don't
like
know if I
that.
want to.
No, no, no. That's fine. No, you can address it. That's what podcast is all about. Presenting your own opinion so people can form theirs. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, but if that's the reason that they want to make it like, hey, look at that, girls can be the same as guys, then why do you have this rule in the beginning? Why don't you show us straight up that she's a female and being part of the crew like everybody else, and don't address the gender issue at all?
Well, I think
I
they're.
think
I
that
think
would be
they're. Well,
better.
yeah, it probably would be better, but I think they are setting it up to address the gender issue.
Yeah, I don't know. If they did, I don't think that's the right way. I don't think they did it. I think they just wanted to address the cliche of women not being allowed on ships and making it another reason for Rathbone to be pissed, like another stupid reason to
Yeah,
drive the plot.
yeah.
I feel
Maybe they just were
that's the
playing on
reason
the
why they did
cliche.
it.
But I mean, if you
Yeah.
notice, in Lorena's story, there's more women pirates, and they're more prevalent. But I guess they are still in Ramses. But
I And another thing about Messiah, like, I know Ramsey has a wife, but if he was single, man, they would not they would be touching each other all the time.
maybe.
Like, they're best buds on in this land where there's nobody else. And you're at sea for a year, and I mean, like, loins will be aching all over the place.
Jesus. Yeah,
Anyways.
maybe so. But yeah, Mercia, she's kind of the brains of the operation. She
Mhm.
helped discover the ways to the shroud, and she,
Mhm.
was probably one of the first to notice the magical properties and wanted to discover more about them, and then, in the game she's
Yeah.
journaling Mercia. So she's always writing things down, always taking notes.
Indeed. And
Uh,
fun fact, the journals you found from the first Telltale, the Shroudbreaker, are written by Mercia. So even though you can't meet her, you can read her work. So you can read her journals in the game, which is kind of cool. Ready to talk about Rathbone?
yeah.
All right, Rathbone, because his name sounds evil. It's like, oh, I wonder who's gonna be the bad guy in the story. But to be fair, and this is what I liked about the story, I feel a lot of sympathy for the guy actually because he's a true pirate. He's like, no, it's all about gold and riches. We've got this rich world to explore. Why don't we, exploit it? Why don't we get all the gold? Like, yeah, that's the entire goal, isn't it, Ramsey? Isn't it? Isn't that the reason why you went to the Sea of Thieves in the first place? Um, and in the end, he ends up betraying the crew. And I'm glad he's not that black and white because he's not bad from the start. He's actually a valuable crew member. He's like, yeah, let's do this shit, and he's pulling his own. He's working together with the crew. He's a valuable crew member. In the beginning, he followed his orders without question, but he has trouble with that. The less Ramsey and Mercy tell him about their plans, and the less they tell him about what their goal is, the more he wants to form his own goal. Combine that with the lust for gold, he eventually gets consumed by it. So that's two factors. Like he's get left out and he gets consumed by the gold. And both those factors are not of his own motivation. So it's other people deciding how his character gets formed through the story. So I don't really blame him for betraying his crew. I blame Ramsey and Mercia for it. However, to be really fair, Red Throne started plotting really early in the story. As soon as they got back, actually, as soon as they got back the first time from the Sea of Thieves, he showed the map to Sis Jim. So, and that was before he was left out by Ramsey and Mercia. So, yeah, but still, I think if Ramsey was a bit more democratic with his captaincy, I feel like things might have gone different. In the beginning, Redphone just wanted to share the wealth with as much pirates as possible. I can understand that, and just because he felt left out, that he actually started to change. So yeah, I feel quite some sympathy for Redphone actually.
You would.
and well, how do you feel about him, man?
Well, the sheer fact that he was plotting early, I think,
Yeah.
I don't think, maybe some diplomacy and some whatever, if Ramsey and Mercia were more open, it may have prevented some certain things. But I think from the get go, Rathbone had his own agenda, and he was going to do the most piratey things he could in the new Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, but isn't that the goal? Like, isn't the entire goal of Sea of Thieves, the Sea of Thieves location, that you can be the pirate you want to be?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's just what Redphone did. So
You're right.
I know.
And that's right too. But who's just kind of a butthead about it.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. And the thing I don't get is because why couldn't he switch to another crew? Like all these crews that are starting in, and he's not agreeing with his own crew anymore because they want to do Tall Tales, and he's like, no, don't want to do Tall Tales, I want to do PvP. And why don't you switch to another crew? Like, why don't you join Greymarrow's crew, right? Because he's all about that PvP. I know why, because they want to tell this story, and the story won't work if he's just switched to another crew. Maybe he's like, maybe I'll get into another crew, and then I can't play. So I don't know, but I get why he didn't switch crew. It's the story. They want to tell the story about how he became the Gold Thor. So no, I get it. But like I said, he's not that black and white, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was early on in the Sea of Thieves. It was probably harder for crews to switch. They probably already had their set crews.
Yeah,
And maybe that was part of his plan the whole time. Is just to be part of Ramsey's crew and then wait till the right moment to then maybe take it over.
yeah.
So
No,
who knows?
I feel, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. And like I said before, like even though I feel sympathy for the guy, he's still plotted really early in the story.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work in his favor. I agree with that.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to Rowana, final main character. I say main character, but she has a role in the beginning of the story, but less so when the story gets rolling. Rowana is the facto matriarch of the town where she and Ramsey had grown up. They had played together as children, and she introduced Ramsey to his wife. and in return he used his earnings to help purchase the pup back when she was only a barmaid. Again, I feel like she's only there to fulfill the cliche of telling your tall tales to the pup owner. Like that's her role. But it's fine. Like they fleshed her out a little bit more than just the NPC you talk to, so that's fine.
Yeah, she's I mean, to me, I thought that she would have a bigger role in the book, that she would be some sort of side love interest of Ramsey that I think you disagree with, but I think that's where that was leading to, or maybe that's what it felt like to me.
I think Ramsey could get a lot of pussy in this novel, but he just didn't do it. Like I think he doesn't really care about it. It's like, oh, I got 2 kids. I had the sex because I like kids, but now I'm done with it. I don't know. Because he could get Rowana. He didn't even return to his wife. Maybe she's ugly. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why I go to the pub in real life. And the Sea of Thieves is kind of like a big ass pub, right? Isn't it? Anyways. And then you have Mercia too, and they're best buds, and she's hot. So I don't know.
Do we know she's hot? You're just assuming
like
she is. Yeah.
Yeah, right. We don't know she's hot, but I feel like she is. She's fit. She can swim in shipwrecks and escape sharks.
Yeah.
She's fit. She's not blubbery all over like I am. In-game character, by the way. Not in real life. Let's I don't know why I said it. Anyway, let's talk about the other characters. I think I talked enough about Briggsy. I like Briggsy. She's just fun.
I like Briggsy too.
Really, yeah. She's like living the private dream. I like her.
Yeah, I always would call her Briggs B.
Yeah, but it's Briggsy, right?
I know. Yeah, it's Briggsy. Yeah.
I always called her Briggsy too, and then I was writing the script and was like, "Oh shit, it's Briggsy. Why did we always say Briggsby?"
I don't know.
The reason why she's called Briggsy is that she got voted to the brig all the time.
Yeah, and she was able to break out of all the brigs.
Yeah, so I don't like that. That's a great backstory. I just love it. And then when Ramsey presents all the chests and she's like, "Yeah, you can't open this chest," and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try."
Yeah, she was the first to try.
She's like the first one who tries it. I mean, she's great. She's a great character. Even though she has, I know, a few lines in the novel, I still like her.
Yeah, she's good.
We also have Stitcher Jim, which I was kind of surprised because he appears really early in the story, and I'm like, oh shit, Stitcher Jim.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn a lot about established characters too in this novel. That's kind of sweet. So how do you feel about Stitcher Jim in this novel?
Well, it threw me off, like the timeline of things. So, but I think later discussions we could go over the timeline. But that threw me off. But yeah, it was interesting. So Stitcher Jim obviously has a pivotal role in multiple facets in the Sea of Thieves. With the Gold Hoarder, and then of course with Flameheart. So that's interesting. And then not only with Flameheart, but with the original crew into the Devil's Roar. So he seems to be a pretty pivotal character in every single story arc in Sea of Thieves so far, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. But I think they did it so it's easier for the players to understand. Like, oh, Stitch Jim, he's a betrayer.
Yeah. When did this book come out, by the way? Was this after?
When the game came out. So
this was before. This is before Forsaken Shores.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So then this
novel was published in 2018.
So they had all this set up, like when in 2018, because Forsaken Shores was like September or October.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm guessing it's quite early in 2018. Because I remember this book being about getting released about the same time as the game. Okay. I'm not entirely sure about that. I could be wrong. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't. I only could find the year it was released. So that's 2018. So, but yeah. And a lot of it was set up. We will talk about that later too. But there's a lot of stuff set up for future content, which now we read and like, oh yeah, of course. Like I can give. There you go. October.
As after Forsaken Shores.
So that's before. After. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
October. Wait, when was Forsaken Shores?
It was in October, but like early October, I'm pretty sure.
And this novel was?
This novel was October 23rd. Forsaken Shores was late. It was September 27th. But obviously, the novel was written before the Forsaken Shores was.
Of course, you can't write a book in 1 month. It doesn't work like that.
Unless you're George
Even
R. R.
though
Martin.
it's quite simple. You take a lifetime to write one book. He's still not done. Oh,
yeah, no.
That's not
This
is not a Eyes on Fire podcast. This is a Sea of Thieves podcast. All right. So yeah, but this Jim was introduced early. It's in his youth, and the timeline does match up because this is one generation later, and a generation is about 20 to 30 years, and which means he should be between his 40s and 50s in the game, and I feel like he's in his 40s in the game.
Yeah. So I think it matches up.
So it does match up. Yeah, it does match up. Another character we get introduced is Grey Marrow in the flesh. Literally. He still had flesh back then. How do you feel about Grey Marrow?
As the same as he is in the game currently. He's a butthead.
Yeah. He's a PvP dick. All right. Yeah, he doesn't really get that fleshed out. He makes a few appearances in the novel. He doesn't agree with Ramsey's suggestion of being in an alliance together. No big surprise. We don't learn all that much about him, only that he was a PvP focused pirate back in the day.
Yeah.
We also get introduced to Slate.
No, he's cool. I mean, he's captain of the Morning Star. He seemed like that classic, cool, calm, collected, like former Navy guy turned to pirate. Yeah.
He's nice. He's in between two. In the beginning, he doesn't really want to join the alliance, but he can see the benefits of it. Well, we have the time jump to 20 years later. He's turned around and he is part of the big pirate alliance then. So that's kind of cool.
With crimson sails.
Ship too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess the Morning Star sails are crimson.
And yep, they are. And the bear figurehead too, which is really interesting because this novel was definitely written before Tall Tales. We can agree on that, which is really cool because we have Slate and we have the description of his ship. We have all the figurehead.
All the Tall Tales are set up from basically this novel.
Yeah, like Grey Mare too, Briggsy too, Stitch Jim to a certain degree. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that we got all that information. But most of them are dead now too, like Brigsby, Stitch Jim, Grey Marrow. Spoilers, by the way, Slate. They're all dead. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You can still meet them though. Something else that's quite interesting is that a lot of those names from the novel appear in the game as gamer tags. If you choose for the option hide your gamer tag will become one of the names of the characters from this novel. So I'm not gonna tell you the names of the characters of Lorena's story. We'll say that for another time. But some of the other names you can be are Ramsey's Ghost, Rathbone's Secret, Journaling Mercia, Cheerful Chan, and Landlubber Rowena.
Correct.
So I think that's pretty cool. I think
that is
cool. So if you see a guy and he's called Rathbone's Secret, oh yeah, that's Rathbone from the novel. So I like that.
Then they have other characters from the comic.
Yes, but maybe we'll do that when we discuss the comic. If we're going to discuss comic, let me know in the comments section below if you want us to discuss the comics. Could be fun. I do like diving into the lore, actually. I really like that. So let's go over the interesting plot points, and let's begin with the Shroud, because to me the Shroud was I didn't really understood what it was. I knew you had to get through the Shroud to get to the Sea of Thieves, but I always thought it was a set location somewhere on the world map, but it's not. Like it drifts around across the seas and the oceans, and that's new information.
Well,
in the beginning, what?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think so there's a specific point in the real world where the Sea of Thieves is supposed to take place.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Is that true? I thought the Shroud could appear anywhere.
Well, I think the Shroud, since it ebbs and flows, it moves, but the actual Sea of Thieves, where it is a real it's like off the Isle of Mosquito or something.
See, I didn't know that. That's
It's north of
interesting.
Mosquito Island. I think it's like in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, of course, it has to be the moon.
Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama, Key Largo, Montego, baby, why don't we go? Yeah.
Yeah, you know I'm gonna cut this out for release,
Down
right?
to Kokomo, where we wanna go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the Caribbean, in the like near the Bermuda Triangle. So if you go on like Mosquito Island or something,
Mhm. All right, so it is a real location in the real world, so to say.
yes,
Only the shroud around it ebbs and flows. All right,
yes,
that's cool. And in the beginning, they like big ships couldn't enter it, so that's kind of the reason why the Royal Navy couldn't enter it. Like that's the lore giving explanation why only pirates can do it, because they have the know-how to navigate treacherous waters like that. So in the beginning, they did it with a small ship, and just because a small ship could withstand the forces of the shroud. Later they were able to bring in bigger ships because they learned about certain passages where the shroud was, how to say, less strong. Like it doesn't really get explained all that much, but there are ways you could get in more easily. You always need to get through the shroud, but some entrance points are a bit easier to get there. You don't always reappear at Thieves Haven per se. I think there's another story about somebody. Yeah, there's another story about somebody arriving at Daggertooth as his first location. So um, you can enter it from a different side, which was interesting. So there are ways to enter the shroud without a shroud breaker, which I like to read about. So that's quite interesting. Another plot point we kind of discussed this before: Rathbone conspiring with Stitch Jim.
yeah. I thought that
I'm
when
gonna
they
cut
first
this.
introduced that, I
Oh,
thought that was really interesting.
yeah,
It really caught me off guard, especially because it was Stitcher Jim, and that it was so early that Rathbone
yeah.
decided to do that.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Learn more about Stitch Jim, because in the beginning, when I was just playing the game, Stitch Jim briefly took over the build threads and was like, "All right, is he a good character? Is he a bad character?" Obviously, like I was more leaning towards bad character, but I was like, maybe he can redeem himself. Like he failed numerous times of joining the bad guys, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna redeem myself. I'm gonna be a good guy. But as we all know, again, spoilers, as we all know, that didn't happen. He was just working for Flameheart all along. He just got a new master.
Well, I mean, there could have been a
Um,
point where he felt whatever, but then just got seduced.
yeah, well, he was betrayed by Flameheart too. Like he was tricked by
Yeah.
Flameheart for sure. So yeah, I feel like Jim could have turned around. But now, thanks to this story, we already knew he wasn't that great of a guy when he was
Yeah.
in his early 20s. So yeah, he was always not that great of a character. Oh well. So the plot point that's perhaps most interesting in the story is all the stuff about the mermaids, because they meet the mermaids at their pool. We don't know where the pool is, but we'll discuss that later when we go into the discussion about the locations. But they have a hierarchy. Like they meet with the mermaid queen, which was kind of interesting. Another thing I didn't know, I thought, oh, you have mermaids in the game, and of course they have a society, but they have a royal society. Their society is a monarchy, which I thought was quite interesting. Again, it's still pretty surface level. You don't dive deep into the politics of mermaids, but it's nice to know that they have a queen, and they also can't talk, which is also something I didn't know. They sing, and they don't sing in English or any known language. They sing in their own language, but they use these pearls to communicate with humans, which I thought was interesting too. So, how do you feel about mermaids?
Yeah, that was cool. I'm glad they introduced it. I wish we knew more,
Yeah.
obviously, but we only got snippets. I mean, we
Yes.
understand that the mermaids worked with the ancients long time ago, and they were friends with humans, but that, I mean, that's kind of it. So obviously I wish
Yeah.
there was more. I wish maybe that there was ways, maybe they'll, for future content, they can implement that pearl stuff or the earring stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's indeed
I thought it was
that's
really cool
something I
though.
want to discover future content too, because those pearls. seem interesting at all. That could be really big. And now I also get why people in the beginning were talking about mermaids. We want mermaids this, mermaids that, and it's not just because we have mermaids in the game that are just a way to get back to the ship. That's kind of like the only thing we have in mermaids, and the statues too.
Mhm.
But that's about it. And if you read the novel, especially consider that it's written like 2 years ago, the novel, you really get hyped up for mermaids because we get so
Yeah,
little information about them. I was kind of hoping that we would get more, but basically everything we told you about the mermaids so far is all there is to know about the mermaids.
from the
Like
book.
when I told you guys about the monarchy, that's the only thing I know is that they have a queen. So that's the only thing the novel tells you. Yeah, you're right. Just snippets
Yeah,
of information about the mermaids, but nothing really big
but they're
or
obviously
anything
an
like that. Of
integral part of the Sea of Thieves.
course.
So I would like to know more.
Yeah. They it sets up for more content, and that's what I feel we got a lot of flame heart lately in the game,
Yeah,
and I wish they were focusing on other stuff too, other piratey stuff too, like indeed like the mermaids, for example, or other creatures or crabs or something like that. But nowadays it seems all to be about flame heart, which is nice. I like that storyline, but I want to see other stories develop as well in the Sea of Thieves. But well,
yeah. I think
don't know
there.
how you feel
What?
about that.
Yeah, though there's a there. I don't know. In the game, I think it needs multiple story arcs going at the same time.
Hmm.
Because there's something feels lacking in the game right now. I don't know what it is. I think other people are feeling it too.
Yeah, maybe because I do you think they want to wrap up Flameheart first and then they're gonna give us other stories, or
Yes,
how you feel about
I
that?
think yes, I think they want to do that. But at this rate, it's gonna be a long time before they wrap up Flameheart. I think other story arcs need to start developing right now.
Yeah,
Because like I
yeah. Maybe
said,
they don't do it because it's gonna be too confusing for the general players.
yeah. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but like after the ghost ships were introduced and it was a really cool event. Like, don't get me wrong, the event's really neat. Something feels off on the seas right now.
Like too much Flameheart, or what is
Maybe
it?
I don't know. Maybe something just feels weird. Is like I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I do feel like we should have got more lore about the ships, and they're just there and like, oh, all right, shit, what's the lore? What are they
Yeah.
doing? What's now we kind of know what Flameward is, but still, there's a lot of mystery, and you're like, oh, we're giving all this content, but it's not fleshed out lore wise. So I don't know. Is that it? Maybe.
No, I don't know. It almost feels oversaturated with stuff to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like when you're going out trying to search, trying to be a pirate. I don't know. Maybe the seas are emptier right now. There's I have a weird feeling when I'm playing these days.
Hmm. Maybe you just jaded.
I don't know. No, no. It just feels like it's hard to find people, and it feels like before people would be concentrated at certain areas, and you
Mm-hmm.
could interact with these people. But now it's like everyone's everywhere.
All right.
I don't know. Something
Yeah.
feels weird.
I don't know. I like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I haven't played in 2 weeks. The reason why is not because I don't like Sea of Thieves anymore. I've bought a Switch. So, wait, do you have a Switch, Uni?
No, I looked for
All
one
right.
for a long time, but can never find one for sale. So I ended up buying a Go XLR and new
That's how
microphone. And,
Nintendo works.
yeah.
It never gets on sale because they have monopoly, right, on all their content.
No, well,
Like if you
no,
want to play
not
Mario, you
no.
can
I
only
wasn't
play
like
it on Nintendo.
not like a sale as in get price off, but there was none available to purchase.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
All
there's
right,
none
gotcha.
anywhere.
Yeah, it's because of the the world
Yeah,
crisis thing. They recently announced that the production is back to almost 100%. But there's still a
the
what's the
shortage.
word? Yeah, shortage. Yeah, I wanted to say deficit or something like that. I don't know.
That could work too.
In my latest video, I made a spelling error and I got comments on that.
You had a
So
couple.
I feel bad. Don't say that.
But it's not uncommon. I had a whole bunch of like yeah. That's why a lot of times I've kind of strayed away from
Using
putting
text.
subtitles and stuff. Yeah, just
Yeah,
text
I know.
because I end up
I know.
making typos.
Yeah, my editing software doesn't have. I
Spell
use Premiere
checker. Yeah.
Pro, which is like the best of the best, but there's no spell check because it's not a text program, right? It's an editing program, so
Yeah.
it doesn't check for spelling mistakes. But I feel like they should. Um, but anyways, oh well.
No, they
I mean,
should.
yeah, they should. I mean, it's not my native language too, right? So
Yeah,
sometimes a
that's
mistake snucks in.
I mean, even people
Yeah.
like Fuzzy Bond had one, he did when he was doing his Pistol Heroes thing. I think the first two videos of those he had some spelling errors. I mean everybody does it. It's
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
And sometimes it's just typo, right? Just nicks in there.
Yeah, I mean it's you're human, you make mistakes. I've done it. Like I said, Fuzzy's done it. You did it, and you're number one. So yeah, I wouldn't sweat it.
All right. No, I don't actually. Like I told you before, like in the beginning, I was I wanted to make my videos perfect.
Yeah.
Like no mistakes, perfect transitions. And you know what? You can never do it. You can never do it.
No.
Always is something that sneaks in. If it's an audio thing or transition that doesn't go the way you want it, or a spelling or a typo mistake that you only discover a week, like you can never make them perfect. And now I'm like, fuck it. I'm not gonna worry. I'm gonna make it as good as possible. I'm gonna spell check it. Of course, I'm gonna do it like 2 or 3 times. But if it's still snuck in, like I did my best, and I want to get my content out in time. I don't want to keep my subscribers waiting, so I don't, it's fine. It's fine. I don't get hung up on it.
My last video, I redid. There was a lot of things that I missed on the first handful of, watching. And I went back and I'm like, oh, gotta fix that. Like I had a mermaid pop up on one of my cinematics that I didn't realize. I was like, it's just for like one frame. There's mermaid smoke on one of my cinematics. I'm like, oh no, fix that. Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, you should increase your font size too.
I'm gonna make it smaller. I purposely kept it that
everybody
size
bigger
too.
Except my name, really small.
I purposely kept it that size. But here's the other thing: I don't want to, I don't want to. That's always be my outros too. Is always have like a little cut scene and credits.
Oh no,
I want to switch it up.
Yeah.
I feel like if I do another one,
no, that's your style. Your videos are already different each time, so that's good. Anyways, let's get back on track. Let's discuss the. I think we've talked enough about mermaids, right? Unless you want to say about something about them.
No, I just wish we knew more.
Yeah, indeed. So let's talk about. It's kind of related to the mermaids. Let's talk about the Old Mother. It's a gigantic kraken that could not be killed. It screamed for 100 years once it got chained, but eventually it did die. I mean, we presume it died because the only remains are skeleton. Yeah. So, but however, when it got unchained, it did brought back the other krakens, didn't it?
Well, you say plural.
Yes.
I think it's just one.
Do you think the kraken in the game is one kraken?
One kraken. And do you want me to explain
I don't believe
why?
That. Because the server can only handle one kraken at a time?
No.
Right, explain why.
During the first kraken, this kraken had one eye and its full body was exposed and everybody could see it. They see the eye, see the mouth, see everything. Ramsey blinded the kraken, and the kraken, once it realized it was blinded by the line, it sunk its head underwater and only left its tentacles above.
Yep.
And that's
which I think is really cool. That's a nice lore giving explanation why we don't see the rest of the body of the kraken.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's just one.
That's a good one. To be fair, when I read it, I was thinking like, oh yeah, this is the reason why we don't see the head of the kraken. That's pretty smart. But then I was like, but they did want to show more of the kraken, and there is art of the entire body. So I still hope. I don't want to say I believe, but I still hope we will get to see more of the kraken in the future.
Oh, they're gonna do. dude, trust me, Sea of Thieves, like right now, like it feels like a little. I know I'm going off tangent, but they're gonna do some crazy, crazy stuff.
With Krakens, you mean?
Not well, I don't know, but like they're gonna do like server wide events, I think, where everyone will board like a giant boat and fight some big thing. I'm not saying this because I'm an insider. I'm not saying this because I know. I'm saying this from context clues that I've gotten from the past dev streams. And I think they are planning something very big that's going to be in the aspect of a lot of people on one big boat fighting one big thing.
All right. Well, you've heard it first in this channel. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think
I
I'm
hope
excited
you're right.
too. So I think, this
Sounds
might be
cool.
like third year 3 plans. But from Joe Neat, I think it was Joe Neat. Who wasn't Joe Neat? Somebody mentioned, maybe it was Jake the Viking or somebody on one of the latest dev streams. He's, somebody goes 6-man man of war, and Joe Neat's like, think bigger.
All right.
I don't know if that was the exact words.
Interesting.
But yeah.
All right. We'll see. I'm excited for the future. All right. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What that big event's gonna be. Let's get back to the topic on Krakens.
Yeah, sorry, Krakens.
You could be right. That's fine. It could be one Kraken. I still think it's more Krakens because we have Krakens fall. We see more skeletons, so I do believe there are more Krakens in the game. I just feel like you were right. Like that Kraken hides his body because he got blinded.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that, and I just feel like other Krakens had the same experience. Like in the beginning, they were showing their head, and the pirates like that. We're pirates. We're gonna attack the head too. And then all the Krakens learned to not show their head anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel it's more like that.
They went to Kraken school, and he taught them.
Yeah.
human PvP 101.
Yeah.
Put your head under the water. It's one Kraken.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see.
We'll see. For sure.
Could be one. Like I'm not hung up in it. Could be one. Could be multiple. I'm fine with either one.
Yeah, it's all speculation anyway. So we don't know the answer.
Indeed, but it's fun. Like they mentioned in the book, why he hides his body. So I do like that addition for sure. But let's get back to the old mother again, because what's the reason why introduce this mega Kraken? And it's big, by the way. Like its tentacles get into multiple caverns. They can sail through those caverns. It's a really big, massive Kraken. So why introduce this one?
Well, I mean,
mega Kraken.
She had significant. Well, that was the key that bound the inhabitants of the original Sea of Thieves, which was the merfolk and the ancients. So they needed, like I said, the only thing that'll bring on world peace on Mother Earth are aliens, alien invasion, and that would
where's this podcast going?
Well, no, it's so it would unite everyone against a common foe, and so that is what the Old Mother is. The Old Mother was according from what I interpret, was a big bad boss lady who would come up every once in a while and feast and kill merfolk and humans, and so they banded together because they had a common foe and captured her and chained her up.
All right. Well, I hope we get invaded.
I'm telling you, that's what needs to happen. For all our world problems to end, we need to be invaded by aliens and have some sort of ability to fend them off.
All right. I can talk a lot about this, but I'm not going to do it because we'll go on another tangent, and I want to keep it focused. But do you think the Mega Kraken is going to make a reappearance in the main game?
I don't think. Well, I mean, I don't think her itself. I don't think the actual Old Mother, unless she becomes, that somebody brings her back alive from her bones. That's the only way.
Yeah, or we fight a giant skeleton Kraken, right? I mean, they have bones.
That's true.
Well, not in their tentacles, I guess. The tentacles is just muscle, because the biological autonomy of Krakens in Sea of Thieves is different than squids and octopi are in the real world. So it has skeletons like a normal kraken. The kraken from mythology doesn't have any
Hmm.
skeletal remains because it's an octopi. Not in Sea of Thieves. They have bones. They're more akin to fish than they are to this mass of muscles. So maybe a skeleton kraken.
Maybe
Maybe it can regain its flesh. Maybe the daughter of the mother,
that's
the
what I
old
think.
mother,
Yeah, if we do
the
fight
old daughter
something
story.
big, I think that would be it. I think it would be the blind one that Ramsey, you know,
Maybe,
originally fought,
maybe,
and that like grows
maybe.
into something big.
You don't think it's just a way to introduce the special metal? Like the only goal of the Mega Kraken is to introduce the chains.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, yes. I mean, I guess that's the end goal
Mm-hmm.
of introducing the old mother. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also, I mean, no, I mean, the other, it fills other points. Like I said, I think with the Merfolk and the ancients, and I think the Kraken has a lot to do. I think they worship the Kraken as well, like the ancients and the Merfolk.
Hmm.
They feared and
I
worship.
thought. Oh yeah, you're probably right.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you
I
look at like
remember
the
that.
Shroud Breaker, you look at all these symbols. It's all kind of Kraken tentacly based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think the Old Mother plays a significant part in the overall lore.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think maybe they worship it. I do remember something reading about that. No, they worship the Megalodon.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think she only
but
came up every
don't know
so
if they did it for
often
Kraken. Yeah, yeah, it could be. But if they why would you chain your god that you worship,
because
right?
she
You
was
don't do
killing
that to
people
something you
too.
worship. All right, all right. So the relationship changed then. You're saying.
No, I don't think it ever changed. I think they probably just got fed up with it.
All right. Okay.
If
Cool.
that makes, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. But was it in the book or is this you speculating?
Me speculating. Yeah, this is me
All
speculating.
right. Okay. Just to make sure. I do remember something reading about worship, so that's why I ask
Yeah.
again. Anything else you want to talk about, old mother wise?
No, I'm wondering if we can find if she's one of the Krakens at Kraken's Fall, or if she's one of the Krakens like
That's a good one
Devil's
because
Roar.
it's actually near Kraken's Fall. It's in
Yeah.
an underground cave system near Kraken's Fall, if you read the novel, but it's not on Kraken's Fall. So, and as far as we know, there's no location we can visit it. Hopefully, it will be cool that we'll get it in the future. Maybe we get an.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it
I
could be
always think that we're
Flintlock.
gonna get it.
There's a huge skeleton Kraken underground
Yeah.
at Flintlock, which is fairly, I think, directly east of Kraken's Fall. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm wondering if that could be it too, because it's pretty big. Because it's the one where you
Wait, is
go
that
when you do the tall tale.
Flintlock Peninsula?
Yeah.
And what's there exactly?
So when you do the tall tale of the Seabound Soul, the
Mm-hmm.
final island you go to is Flintlock, and then you go into that cave to get the
Mm-hmm.
skull, Flameheart's skull. And as you're going
Mm-hmm.
down into the cave, you are in the belly of a Kraken,
That's true.
and that is
That's true. And it's a
relatively
big one.
near. Yes, it's very
Yeah.
big, and it's big enough to put a galleon in probably, and that's
That
relatively near.
is could be true. Yeah. No,
Um,
you're right. There is indeed you are in the Kraken, so to say.
mhm.
Could be, could be. But as far as we know, the the Devil's Roar was not opened yet in
Yeah,
Ramsay's days,
yeah.
so they couldn't go to that island. So it was still covered up in the shroud. So there's an argument against it, but still, it's interesting.
But since
Hmm.
the shroud did ebb and flow, so I mean, I
Yes.
know we're kind of going because there's one point in the novel that
Mhm.
Smuggler's Bay gets
It's
gobbled
a good
up.
one. Yep.
There's another point
Yes.
where Tribute Peak is open, but then gets gobbled up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
who
it's
knows? Who
true.
knows? Who knows?
Marrow is it Marrow's? Marrow's Peak. Yeah, Marrow's is the captain that sailed into the Devil's Roar
Yeah,
for the first time.
yeah,
We get told that multiple times, so that's like I said. I don't, that's argument against
yeah.
it being Flintlock Peninsula, but still, it's interesting. But around that area, that's where the uh, gigantic Kraken lays. So yeah, hopefully we'll see it in the future. to make a little segue, they made from the chains they made the chest and skeleton keys. Oh, I always wondered why they call them skeleton keys. Because are they owned by skeletons? No, they're called skeleton keys because they open all chests. It's really that simple. Like I never made the connection. I always thought about skeletons, but no, a skeleton key is a name for a key that can open everything.
Yeah.
It's called something totally different in Dutch, by the way. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the reason why I couldn't make that connection. But yeah, they open all chests, which I don't get because apparently, according to the lore, all the chests that you turn into gold hoarders, you cannot open yourself. The gold hoarders need to open that because Redbone gave all the skeleton keys to those representatives. Fine. But what about wooden castaways then? Like, can't they just smash it open and get all the gold instead of bringing it to the gold hoarders? But still, that's fine. You can't open a castaway if even if it's made of wood instead of that,
It's
precious metal.
protected.
Yeah, right. It's protected by a spell. Fine, fine. It's good. It's you need to make that little leap of logic. It's fine. However, you have skeleton like fort loot, like the skeleton captain's chest that clearly belongs to skeletons. But wait, is it this chest that Ramsey or Sean made? Why dress it all up all skeleton-y? Like, why do that?
I mean, it could have been.
Why? And the ghost treasure, the treasure chest of the damned, the captain's chest of the damned you get from the ghost fleet. You still need to turn it in at the. I did. You still need to turn it in at the gold orders. Like, it doesn't make sense. Do they have skeleton ghost keys as well, or can those special magical keys still open them? I don't get it. Like they need to have a lore given explanation why you can't open the chests, but you can get gold when you turn it in. Like that's a gameplay mechanic. You need to turn in the outpost. Fine. So they need to have an explanation. But now the explanation doesn't work anymore because you have these questions. Like, video game logic only can get you so far, and I feel like they stretched it a little bit too much because there's so many chest types now that don't fit that narrative anymore. So, anyways, that's how I feel about it. How do you feel?
I'd never even thought about it.
All right.
You turn in gold chests to the gold hoarders. That's what you learn on day 1. You pick up the gold voyage, get a chest, and you bring it to the gold hoarder.
Because all that gold that's in those chests is made by, it's hoarded by Ramsey in the beginning, and I guess later by his alliance. Well, I guess not actually, because he lost all the keys, right? Didn't he?
It's true.
To Rathbone, he stole them all.
Well, maybe just the keys, but maybe he could still make the chest.
Yeah, which is also weird.
He just didn't have the keys.
Clearly, they made the cannons too of the special metal. So why don't you melt the cannons down to make new keys? Oh my god, so many questions. Yeah, I'm thinking too much about it. All right, man, I was really happy because a lot of things make sense, but as soon as you start to think too deep, it doesn't work anymore. Anyways, if you guys that are listening to us now think you got the right answer to our questions, please let us know. I want to make this fit in my head so it all makes sense. There's also talk about making cursed chests. Apparently, the curses were already there in the Sea of Thieves, and Ramsey and the other pirates eventually made cursed chests using magic. However, it's not getting explained how they did it exactly. It's only hinted at it. However, the dev said that the cursed chest contains the trapped souls of cursed pirates. However, Ramsey has possession of a chest of sorrows before anybody else died, before any pirate died. So I'm thinking, how did he get the souls to get in the chest to make the cursed chest if there were no souls to be collected? So again, this doesn't make sense within their own lore. But maybe
are you implying that Ramsey created all the cursed chests?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
But I'm implying that he created some.
Yeah, maybe some, but like there was one point where they make reference in one of the storylines that the face resembled a mermaid.
Yes.
And I mean, these could have been cursed chests way back in the ancient times, and they could be
True.
souls of mermaids who were eaten by the old mother.
Maybe. Yeah, that's
Cue
true.
cracking
But again,
noise.
I raise you this question. Why the hell do you need to turn those cursed chests into the gold ores then?
Well, you have nowhere else. Where else you can turn them in? The merchant?
You can open them yourself.
What if you can't? They're cursed. You don't know. You're just a lowly pirate that all you know is you bring the chest to the gold hoarder.
Maybe they've learned over the years how
We've
to deal
been
with those curses and open them safely.
dogged.
All right. You know what? I can accept that. I can accept that answer. That does make sense, actually. A little bit. I'm not gonna go further because I'm sure I'm gonna think of something that doesn't make it fit anymore. So I accept that as an answer for now. All right. And the final thing I want to discuss in this section is pearls. That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, did the pearls do anything, or was it the earrings, or is it one and the same?
Is the earrings, because well, pearls are connected with mermaids in general. I feel like because the map to the pool, they got the pearl necklace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the necklace didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Maybe it did. Maybe they
Yeah, I
haven't
don't
figured out
know.
what it did. But in this story that was presented to us, the pearl necklace doesn't do anything. Pearl earrings, on the other hand, they found next to the pool, and Mercia put them in, and that allowed her to hear the song of the mermaids. It was still really hard to understand it. It wasn't clear, like it was more like a hints and impressions that she got from the music
Mm-hmm.
to know all the lore about the mermaids. I mean, Mercia is the one that discovered that the mermaids are really old and that they work together with humans. That's all what Mercia is telling us because she hears. That's the way she interprets the song she hears, but it's not clear. It's not a clear song, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was cool how they did that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, will we, because there are no pearls in the game as of yet. It's not a treasure item.
Well, we're about to get them.
It's not cosmetic. Sorry, what?
We're gonna get them at some point,
Yeah,
hopefully.
I hope so too. I think we will get pearls, and pearls are gonna be interwoven with a mermaid addition to, like, whether it's gonna, maybe it's gonna be tall tale. That's what I think. Like, get the pearl earrings for the tall tale. You got the earrings, you get a new marker. All right, you heard the song, interpret the song to go to your next location. Like it fits the tall tale perfectly. So I think it's gonna be something like that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think their next progression. I think there's two storylines that they're going to go down after this whole Flameheart stuff plays out. Is either one through the mermaids, or two through the Ferry of the Damned or the Sea of the Damned. Those are the two routes that they're most likely will go. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping they go mermaids, but I have a inkling or a stinking feeling that they're going to do Sea of the Damned.
Which is also really interesting about the Fairy of the Dam, because in the novel they talk about it too, that it is underneath the waves, and that you can get hints and snippets of that underworld, which I thought was really smart, because I thought, oh, it's just another dimension you go when you die, and it's a physical place in the server because it's a video game. It needs to have a physical place in the server. But no, there's a lore explanation for that. So I did like that. But we will get more into the Ferry of the Damned and the Sea of the Damned in the next podcast, because it has more to do with Larina's story than Ramsey's story. So we'll address that in the next podcast a bit more. Back on topic to the pearls, you can communicate with mermaids with it. Speaking about mermaids, what about bad mermaids?
Well,
wasn't there hints at evil mermaids?
Falcor hinted at him, and based off of paintings, you can see that there are some good that are like saving, and then some kind of evil that looks like they're kind of being bad to people.
Yeah.
But in this
what Falcor does a lot of interpretation and no hard facts. Because all the mermaids we saw in this novel are all good.
Correct. How the mermaids portrayed in this book, they miss humans, they like humans, and they want to help.
Yes, they're cautious, but they're not evil. They're not menacing. at all? All right, let's go to the next topic, and that's answered questions. And with this, I mean specific questions we had about Sea of Thieves that are being answered thanks to this novel. Of course, we did a little bit of that before, but let's do some specific questions. All right, and the first one is, can you die in the Sea of Thieves?
Yes.
Yes, especially in the beginning, because the Sea of the Damned was always a thing, but there was no ferryman. So your soul either drifted away to limbo, or you drifted to the real world to become either a ghost, a skelly, or a skeleton lord. Having said that, the fact that your soul becomes a skelly when it rises, back to the physical world is speculated. It's only hinted at it. It's not, set in stone. Since there are also other ways to become a skeleton. Um, so yeah, in the beginning, if you died, you were dead.
Yeah.
You were dead.
But at some point, the ferryman came around and
Yes.
and will now ferry you back to the living.
Yes. And he doesn't always do that.
No.
If he decides you're too old or sickly to return to the land of the living,
Or a butthead.
he's like, yeah, you're dead. You stay there.
Yeah.
Which it's a bit weird. Like if you're still young and fit, you can live again, even though you just died.
Oh,
But
the
if you're gonna
ageism.
die anyways to old age, yeah, well, you're
I don't
dead
want to
now.
keep
It's
ferrying you
you had your
back.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how it feels like. It's probably hard for him to ferry back, so he kind of needs to decide. We don't know for sure. There's still a lot of mystery about the ferryman. The only thing the novel told us, and again, this is more Lorena's story, but since we're mentioning it anyways, he doesn't like his job. And that's about the only lore we get from the ferryman in the novel. He doesn't like his job. He's appointed there. We don't know about who. We don't know if it's his own accord. There's a tall tale in the game that goes a little bit into it, but still, there's still a lot of mystery about the ferryman. So yeah, still interesting. We'll discuss that in a future podcast for sure, as soon as we know more about him. So, next question, and I'll let you answer this. How do pirates recover from broken limbs in the Sea of Thieves?
From magic. Yeah, so apparently they can heal easier. And they make references to a lot of bananas in the novels, which is
Yep.
our main source of recovery, or it was back when the book first came out.
Yep. Because there's a character in the novel, and she's tired, she's worn out, and what does she do to recover? She eats bananas.
Eats a banana.
So very, very video game-esque, but again, I like it that they made the connection between the game and the novel with bananas. I love it.
Yeah, but during that one point in the novel, though, they made it. They specifically, I think, made it where that was the only thing she had to eat too.
Yeah, that's
it
true.
wasn't
To
like,
be fair, that's true.
Eat the banana to get stronger. Do not eat
no
this other thing. But that was like, the only thing she had at the time.
The only thing it doesn't heal is if your limbs get broken, you get healed. It's just the way the world works. But if you lose a leg or you lose your eyes, yeah, they're gone forever. So I know, because they wanted people to look like pirates.
Yeah.
All right. So next question is, why is Ramsey a ghost, and why isn't he brought back by the ferryman?
Ramsey wears an amulet around his neck called the Reaper's Mark. This was a trinket given to him by Mercia before she passed away. And this allows him to be a ghost in the real world, because at the time when Ramsey died, there was no ferryman. So he wouldn't have had a chance to be brought back to the Sea of Thieves.
All right. That's a very straight up answer and makes sense. Again, if you think about this too much, the follow-up question is, do all the other people in Athena's fortune also have Reaper's Mark trinkets, or why are they ghosts there?
That's an unanswered question.
Do you dare to speculate on this subject?
I think probably the Reaper's Mark. I'm guessing probably has Ramsey can maybe control it and use it and bring certain people back or prevent them from going.
I'll accept that answer until we get a better one. Yeah. Yep. I'm happy with that so far. So where did Ramsey get his back leg from?
He lost his leg during the fight when the Kraken attacked them. I read it, so he broke his leg, but I think his leg got crushed by one of the tentacles. And
yeah, that's how I read it too.
Yeah. And then so when he came back, obviously his leg was not, they had to amputate his leg and then he got a peg leg, which is means like in the book they call it a griffin.
Can I tell this because I did my research on this topic?
Yeah, I know, I saw that. Go ahead.
Because it's in the script. So Ramsey's last name is Singh, and Singh comes from Sanskrit, which means from the Sanskrit word Sinha, and Sinha means lion, and Ramsey's back leg is shaped like a lion's foot. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool, but in the book they don't describe it as a lion's foot. They describe it as a griffin, which griffins have lion limbs, lion feet. Yeah,
it's true.
It makes sense. Yeah, and but just how the book describes, I don't think the book actually uses the word lion.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, and no, it doesn't at all. And you also don't get the last name of Ramsey at all in the novel. It is something I looked up.
Yeah.
So you see, I do my research when it comes to these podcasts. All right. So next question: who killed Ramsey, and why has he 3 daggers in his back?
So that is the biggest question that is not answered in the novel.
For people who don't know, most people have already figured out, especially if you're doing a tall tale. At the end of the Shores of Gold tall tale, the 9th one, if Ramsey speaks to you, and if you look at the back of him, you see that he has 3 daggers in his back. And we know that galleons, also in the novel, galleons are always crewed by 4 people in the novel, which always struck me as weird. But I guess they want to make the connection to the video game, so crew is 4 people. And 3 daggers. Hey, that's his crew betraying him. That's what it says to me.
That's what it implies.
His crew betrayed him. But we don't know. We don't know how Ramsey died. We only know we have a fake out to his death when the Kraken attacks for the first time. Then he gets his back leg, and then he has about 20 years. He reigns as a pirate lord, but we don't know how he ends. We don't know.
Yeah,
it's a good mystery, right?
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get that answer from a novel or from the game?
I think they'll probably come out with another book, but I'm sure they would be incorporated into the game at some point.
Like they do like to keep things a mystery.
Yeah.
Speaking about mysteries, what is Athena's fortune?
Athena's fortune is the name of Ramsey's final ship, his final galleon that is now the pirate hideout. He sailed it into, through a waterfall and got it lodged into this cavern, and so that's where you go. That's where pirates can come and meet and talk about their stories and their lore. And so Athena's fortune was named after his wife, Athena. And I believe
is it all. Yeah.
What? Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
I believe
Athena has another meaning.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's in the script. You can read it out if you want.
I don't see it in there.
It was also the code name of this game.
Oh, it was? Wait, well, that must be further down in the script, huh? Unless you have a new script that you didn't send me.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, you're right.
Because
right.
you talked about some.
I was
stuff.
Gonna give you shit, but not reading.
You talked about some stuff like
true.
pearls and stuff. I'm
it's
like,
true.
I don't see any of that.
It's
just making
that's
stuff
true.
up.
I added that stuff. Later in the week. Yeah, you're right. I also added this. I knew this from the beginning, but I never thought to bring it up. And yeah, the code name of this game was Athena.
Oh, cool.
Before it was called Sea of Thieves. So that's one of the other reasons why Athena's fortune is called Athena's fortune, which still strikes me as weird because it's, it kind of shows that he did care about his wife when he clearly didn't, which I think is so fucking weird. It's like when you neglect your family, you never show up, you never there for, I don't know, like rehearsals or or you forgot your wedding anniversary, something like that, and then you decide, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna name it after my wife to make it all up. Like that's how it feels. I mean, you're still a shitty husband.
That's
Anyways, that's
that's a lot of relationships in this world.
yeah.
That's a
Oh,
and they're dumbfounded. They're completely dumbfounded why they're being left or why there's resentment because they went off and did their own
it's
thing because they're selfish.
yeah, yeah, it's true.
That
They
is the
don't.
story of
He
life.
didn't even invite his wife to come to the Sea of Thieves.
Well, I mean, she had two
Like
young kids at the time,
yeah, and I don't get
but
it.
he
I
didn't
don't get it.
care.
Maybe
I
we'll
mean,
learn
it's
more
just like
about it.
everybody else. They don't care. Everybody just cares about themselves. Oh, I'm gonna name it after my
Yeah.
wife. I've always loved her. I've always loved her. Yeah, well, you treated her like shit for 20 years. Don't tell us you always loved her. That's absolute bullshit. You only
Yeah, it is.
loved yourself. Hence
Yep,
the
it's
extreme divorce rates around the world, especially in America.
bullshit. All right, I'm gonna cut some things out. Some things I'll leave in. All right. So another question: can we see the old mother? Can we visit her?
Well, we discussed this, so we don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You can't, not as yet. We only know that she's staying close to Kraken's Fall, and her body was as big as an island. And there's a picture of the chain. I really hate pronouncing this word. There's a picture of chains in the arena hub, so you can check that out if you want.
Yeah, I missed that.
Do I pronounce it right? Chains. Right?
Chains.
Chains.
Like 2 chains.
Chains. Okay.
Chains.
Right. I'm always afraid I pronounce it like change, like
Oh yeah, with
money
G.
change.
Chains.
All right. Chains. Okay, gotcha. So how come Shane could reforge the steel chains, but other pirates are unable to even dent it?
This is when you need to suspend disbelief. Yeah, who knows?
I always struck it as weird because Shane is like he was ex Navy. He was ex Navy, right? And he decided to become a pirate. And yeah, he's seasoned, and he has an affection for tinkering and making traps and all that stuff. I'm guessing he, has some basic skills about forging steel. But he's not a blacksmith. He's not a magician. How come he's the only one who can make chests and skeleton keys and other people can't do it? Like if you can't open, if you're unable to dent a chest of gold, but you're still able to melt it, why don't you, I don't know, melt a lock or something like that? Again, so many questions when you think too much about it. So yeah, how come Shan is the only one? Is he the only one? But on the other hand, he might have given his expertise to the shipwrights, right? Because all the cannons in the game are made with that steel. And new cannons are getting added, so they're getting made. So yeah, it has passed. The knowledge has passed over. Right. So why don't people make more of those invisible chests?
Because they're all miserable. His name is Cheerful Shan for a reason. And all the shipwrights are all whistling their tunes. They're all happy. I mean, the end of the the moral of the story
He's
is
like, I'm a
stay
shipwright.
positive.
I can only make cannons. Can't make chests.
Mhm.
Oh, I know. We're thinking too much about this again.
There's no explanation. You just gotta roll with it.
Yeah. Speaking about Shan, this is a question you emailed me. Was Shan's ship in the bottle foreshadowing the legend hideout?
I think so.
What do you mean with this?
So in the very
I
beginning,
can't remember this.
in the very beginning, when Ramsey meets Shan, he just sits there quietly as Shan is building a ship into the bottle, and
that
he
is
just
true.
watches him do this, and then eventually he raises the mast, and then he fires cannons out of the little miniature ship of the bottle. It breaks through the glass, and Ramsey laughs, ha 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 ha. But it's kind of like when they describe the ship going into what's now known as the Pirate Legend hideout, it just kind of felt like it was fitting right into that small little area, of containment. It just kind of,
because I don't know if you noticed, but originally there were ships in the bottle planned for this game. Did you know that?
Like, what do you mean? as items you
Like it
can
was an
carry.
item. Like when you started the game right now. I didn't discuss this with you, but I did discuss this with Old Buccaneer in the previous podcast. Um, but originally when you start the game, normally you start at the tavern, right? You're you're a bit groggy and you get this map in
Hmm.
front of you. That's how the game starts now. But in the beginning, in the I think pre-alpha even, you start in the legendary hideout, and I think you even awoke from a bed, and then you had this item which was a ship in a bottle was an item, and you could throw it in the water, and poof, there was
Oh,
your galleon,
was
and then
that
you sailed out of the waterfall.
was that actually in the game, or was that an idea that they wanted to put into the game?
It was an idea. I think they even made a little bit crude versions of this ship in a bottle. Like I think there are some images
Gotcha.
around that. There's definitely images of you starting the game in the pilot
Oh,
hideout,
okay.
but it's all very, basic,
Y-
blocky,
Yeah.
not no lighting effects and stuff like that. So that was the original deal. They scrapped it quite early, but they wanted to do that. So that makes me think maybe they're gonna reintroduce it. Maybe we'll see more of Sean and his inventions, because he's just as fleshed out as the other characters that did make a reappearance in the Sea of Thieves, except Sean. So maybe he has some more story to tell
Hopefully.
us.
I think he's
Yeah.
dead.
Oh, he's dead,
Oh, yeah.
but
Maybe see his ghost or
he could
something.
be a ghost or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's about Sean. Um, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Another question of you. What cave slash cavern did they swim to find the earrings and the merfolk?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when they talk about it in the novel, it's an uncharted island,
Hmm.
I think, or an uncharted location. However, that could be uncharted in their days, because in the early days, not every island had their name.
True.
They had even Crescent Isle didn't even have a name. It was called the Crescent-shaped island. So yeah, really, the pirates are so original. With the Sea of Thieves too, like the first name they can think of, it's the one that sticks eventually. The same with Thieves Haven too. So maybe that island with the cavern with the pool has been named now as one of the islands we can go to. Or it could be an uncharted island or an island that's not in the game at all. Um, I thought about this, but I can't remember if there's any location that fits that description at all.
No,
What do
because
you think?
they described the cavern as being pretty big. The one thing that I thought of was the Uncharted Island that's southeast of Hidden Springs Keep and kind of like north of
Hmm.
or, um Reaper's Hideout. That kind of ring shaped little bunch of islands has is one of the tall tales um goes there. I won't, if you get that one riddle, whatever. But there's a shipwreck there. And you dive down the shipwreck, and then there's a cave there. And you could swim through, and then you could go into that underwater cavern. It's where one of the original seats was to sit, I think, for the Bilge Adventures. But it's very
Hmm.
small. But when I was reading
Yeah,
it, that was the only thing that I thought of in my head is that area. I don't know the exact
yeah,
coordinates. Maybe it's K something, K9. I don't know.
yeah. I had that image in my mind too when they were describing swimming through the caverns. I had that image of that uncharted island too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only reason why, because they were swimming underwater in a cavern. And that's the only connection I
That's
could
the only,
make.
yeah, same.
So logically, we were thinking about that. I do believe we will. I really hope we get this location. Like it feels like a location that's going to be added, right?
Yeah.
Like I said before, with the pearls too, it fits. It has the perfect ingredients for tall tale. So yeah, I hope we'll get that in the future. I want to communicate with mermaids, right? I don't want to swim to them and warp back to my ship. I want to talk to them or interact with them in other ways. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. So in the novel, the Mermaid Queen, asks them to rescue some mermaids from Captain Douglas. Where did he fight Captain Douglas to free the merfolk?
I feel like it's Sunken Grove,
Sunken Grove.
right?
Holy shit! I thought it was either Devil's Reach or Sailor's Bounty.
No.
Why do you think it's Silken Grove?
Because it was right in a big pit, and they have there's camps set up everywhere, and then there's the all there's stuff there. The blue. I don't know. That's what I read, and plus that's one of the islands you dig up Captain Douglas's skull. Or no. You get the chalice there. You get the skull. You get the skull.
Cannon Cove, right?
Cannon Cove, yeah.
Yeah, because Captain Douglas is one of the quote unquote evil pirates in the Sea of Thieves, and he captured 2 mermaids, and Ramsey eventually freed them. And his skull, Douglas' skull, reappears in the game during Telltale 7 or 8.
8.
Either one, right? 7 or 8. It's 8 during Telltale 8. You can dig up his skull, which is nice. We always wondered who Captain Douglas was.
It probably is. This novel, it could be Devil's Ridge. Sorry.
Yeah, because that's how I felt about how it was described.
Because they talk about don't they talk about a boar skull or something?
Yes, that's why I thought that
in Devil's Ridge,
because they see paintings of boars.
Yeah, it could be there.
Speaking about boars, it's actually a topic for later. But damn, there's so much references to boars.
Yeah,
in the game, so many boars, and there's nothing in the game yet. And now I get why people want boars too. Oh my god! Again, in the beginning of the game, it was where are the mermaids? Where are the boars? I'm like, what boars? Like, why the hell do you want? I want boars too. Like, of course I've seen the paintings, but I was like, yeah, it's just just painting. But yeah, we got pigs, like, which is also weird because pigs are domesticated animals because we bred them that way. So why do they live in the wild like we've bred? Anyways, think too much about this because it's it's uncharted land that has been abandoned for 1,000 years. So why are there fucking pigs? Anyway, it doesn't make sense. They should be different. Evolution should have gone a different way. But again, overthinking it. I should not overthink this. And yes, I'm very well aware that there are pigs in the real world that look like pigs. In Sea of Thieves, I'm aware of that. So please don't comment on that.
There's wild pig, like where my mom's from. There's pigs.
Yeah,
everywhere.
It's Caribbean, right?
No, Pacific.
Pacific. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pacific. And I went to Korea too, and there's this island there where they have this black pig, and that black pig only lives on that specific island.
Oh wow!
So that was cool. In the wild, and they catch them, and you can eat them, and
and then get them extinct.
They're not endangered. They don't
only place in the world.
Have you ever eaten boar? By the way,
what's that?
Have you ever eaten boar? Have you
Wild
ever eaten boar? Yeah,
I'm sure I have. I can't remember.
It doesn't taste like pig. I thought it would, but it doesn't.
It's probably
I don't
gamier.
like it actually. Yeah, it's gamier, but still, it's not the same as venison or something like that. It still tastes.
Yeah.
I don't like the taste of it, but anyways. Oh my god, we're so good at getting off topic. Let's get back on topic with a new question. How long ago does Ramsey's story take place? How old is Stitcher Jim? Why is he in this timeline and hours?
I think you hit it on the head. It's probably 20. Well, so it's 20 years. So when Ramsey first got there, we know it's like 20 years afterwards where he finally has his final word with Rathbone. But that storyline, it's probably like 30 years, 25, 30 years.
Yeah, maybe. That's a bit stretching. Between 20 and 30 years. Which, again, like when I first played this game, I was like, oh, you have this story about the Pirate Lord. And I was like, oh, and all these other pirates. And you think, oh, it's long ago and all these generations of pirates. And look at all these skeleton remains. But that's all really recent.
That's
like, please.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's all really recent. Like Greymarrow, Brixie, Ramsey, they all lived in the same generation. There's not much time between them. It's the same time. So please keep that in mind when you play the game. You are still pretty fresh in the Sea of Thieves. All of it is still pretty new when you start exploring there.
Yeah.
So I like that.
And we could gauge this based off of that Stitcher Jim is in the previous timeline, and that, as you pointed out, I don't know if it's in the recording or not, but that Ramsey's children are now in the game, and they're probably in their 20s and 30s. So it's probably, we're looking at, 25, 30 years, our current timeline from when the events of Ramsey's discovery of the Sea of Thieves happened.
I want to say that I've seen an interview with the developers and that they wanted to make it, they didn't want you to have the feeling that you missed something, that you missed out on all the good stories, that they want to make you feel like that all the, yes, there is some history, but there are also really big events happening right now. And that's what it feels like, especially now with Flameheart and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It also is possible too that they could play with time, saying that the time in the Sea of Thieves goes differently than the outside world.
I hope so.
So
for
it is
Ramsey,
possible,
like like that he was only gone for a week. Like, I mean, I would like it for his wife. It's, instead of being a year away without telling her, oh my god, he's such a dick. He's such a dick. Even if Rowena tells him, like, hey, you should really visit your wife, man, or otherwise she might leave you. And what does he do? He goes back to the Sea of Thieves again.
Yeah.
Like, you're such a shitty character, Ramsey. Well, anyways. So can we visit any of the characters from the novel in the game?
Yeah, most.
Yeah.
But one I see in your notes is Salty's not in the novel, is he?
Oh hell yeah, he is.
Where?
I can't. Salty. Just give some context for the listeners. Salty was a shopkeeper in the days of Ramsey, and eventually he got turned into a skeleton parrot. And the skeleton parrot you can visit on Plunder Valley. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a quest giver for, I think, Telltale 4 or something like that.
I just don't recall him in the book.
Oh yeah, he's in the background. I think it's when Ramsey calls for a parlay. Like, he's there in the background.
Okay.
His name appears only once in the game. Like, oh yeah, and Salty was there too, something like that. Now he's definitely in the novel, yeah, for sure. But he has no role or anything like that. It's just a background character. But again, I thought it was cool that they did mention him. So yeah.
But to answer your question,
yeah, can we visit them?
Yeah, you could visit almost all of them except for Shan. We don't. So you visit Ramsey, Rathbone, and Tribute Peak.
Yeah, let's go over them one by one.
Okay.
So Ramsey, where can we find Ramsey?
The pirate hideout, or if you beat Rathbone, he shows up, and the Maiden Voyage Island.
That's true. And where can we find Rathbone?
He is on in Tribute Peak. He's the final boss of all the Tall Tales.
He's a gold hero. And you can visit Salty.
Yes, Salty's on Plunder. But Salty has moved around a lot. Salty was, like you said, the shopkeep. Then when Salty became a parrot, he was on top of the shop. And then Salty moved to
love that so much.
Crescent Isle.
Crescent Isle. Yeah.
And then I think that's it. And then Salty moved to Plunder after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and after Crescent, he moved. I love that, by the way. Like, a lot of people, they don't know a lot about Salty, but the people who played since day one, they got that extra story that he moved around, which is kind of cool. Feels good to have something that other people don't have. All right, that came out wrong. It feels good to be rewarded for being an early player of the game. I should have phrased it like that. You can fight Brixie and you can fight Grey Marrow. They're both skeleton lords right now. You can fight Grey Marrow as a ghost form too on the 4th of the Damned. We can fight Slade in ghost form with his recent crew. Important to note, the crew you find Slade in now is not the same crew as he had in the novel. So that changed around a little bit. You can kind of find Stitcher Jim. Stitcher Jim was jumping again, Salty, jumping all over the place for
Stitcher Jim's been everywhere.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. Like, I'm not gonna name it.
Where was he originally? No, where was he? Okay, no, he was at Liar's Backbone. That was his original.
That's his original spot, Liar's Backbone. Yep. He did a lot of betraying. Like
the shows of gold.
No, it's the Devil's Roar. He doesn't sing about Shores of Gold. He sings about Devil's Roar. You're a terrible YouTuber. A land left unexplored. I wish we could
Hmm.
sing in the game too with shanties. Oh well.
You have a
Guess
mic.
we'll have to whistle it now. And Mercia ended up joining Slate and his crew. So she briefly joined a crew of the Morning Star, but eventually his crew changes. So we can assume she changed crew too, or just retired. But we can't find her in the games.
Hmm.
The only thing we can find of her are the journals written during the first Tall Tale. And now Sean, I like Sean as a character, but he's not in the game at all. Like no references, only that name tag. However, he did make the music boxes.
Yeah.
Um, which I found out today, by the way, when I did some additional research. The music boxes in the shops, Sean made them.
Well, I
So yeah,
figured that he made them because it talks about him tinkering with that kind of stuff in the book.
but
So I just
yeah,
figured
man,
he's the one
it's
that made
official.
those. Yeah. Okay.
He
I didn't
made
know that.
those. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Something else, there are a lot of townsfolk and outpost folk that got mentioned in the novel. Most of those people, are not in the game anymore. But sometimes their names did start with the correct letter. So I think there's a shipwright in the novel that starts with a S, uh, and stuff like that. And it doesn't always line up. There's a weaponsmith, a guy, by the way, not a female,
Hmm.
but a male that also starts with a W. So I like that they kept that trend going. They kind of breaks up with the Order of Souls, but we'll talk more about that, about the Order of Souls in the next podcast, because that's has way more to do with Larina. So yeah, most of the people from the novel you can visit or fight. So hey, but most of them are dead. I think they're all dead actually. Like even Salty, he's a skeleton parrot, so I guess he's dead too. Yep, nobody's alive. Nobody, either ghosts or skeletons. So unfortunately, we've been talking for, well, I say unfortunately, it's just more content for you guys. We've been talking a long while. The original plan was to split the podcast up in two to discuss the entire novel. However, I think we need to split it up in four, since we've been talking for so long right now, and we still have a lot of script to get through. So we're gonna end this podcast right now. You will get the second half of this podcast, or the second podcast continuing the story, really soon. So stay tuned for that. But for now, let's end the podcast. So I really hope you enjoyed this. It took a lot of preparation to get this done. And I would like to thank Uniball for being an amazing guest. And can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Uniball Gaming. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. This was a lot.
It was, and we're not even done yet. Anyways, I myself can be found on this very channel you're listening to this podcast to, so please subscribe if you don't want to miss any future podcasts. And after that, go to Uniball and subscribe to his channel as well. And if you want to listen to us live, you can't, because Mixer shut down Mixer, so we don't do live anymore. Oh, and we also don't have an after show this time. We'll save the after show for the next podcast. So this is the end, my friend. So thanks again to my amazing guests, and I hope you, the listener, will have a great rest of your day. So stay safe, wash your hands, ask your crush out. Just do it. Just do it. All right, take care.
Why? You're supposed to social distance. All right, bye everybody.